You're listening to The Pete Sheppard Show.
Oh, it's good to be back.
High fly ball to center field. Harris is back. Oh, Tony! Inevitable! Ladies and gentlemen, embrace this. Embrace this man. Embrace this team this season. An 8-0 start for the defending champs. Unprecedented. Every single night, they do something that makes you say, wow! How much fun is this?
Oh, it's a lot of fun if you're a Dodger fan. It sucks if you're a Braves fan. Good morning, everybody. In case you didn't stay up last night, Shohei Ohtani does what he does. Unbelievable stuff. Worth every penny. Walk-off home run. Dodgers win 6-5. They're 8-0. Braves are 0-7. Red Sox also win. What a performance by Garrett Crochet and Rafi Devers. 2 hits and an RBI. What's the world coming to? Good morning, everybody. Welcome indeed to the Pete Sheppard Show here on the Coastal Sports Network. Thanks for checking us out across the video platform. Sorry for the couple of minutes of delay. Had to delete some stuff and make room for more of me here on the network, on the Coastal Sports Network. So Angel is off today. He's hobnobbing with all the ladies and media types down at Amalie Arena, somewhere around there for the NCAA Women's Final Four. But thank all of you for joining me here on the Pete Sheppard Show. Following me on Twitter, X at PShep326, on the Facebook pages, on the Coastal Sports Network Facebook page, on my Facebook page. Of course, the sports app right up there, SR1029 The Game, and SR1029thegame.com. CSN Florida, YouTube, Rumble, Kick, LinkedIn, and text the show 727-858-6650. Angel, as I said, is on assignment today covering the Women's Final Four. He's actually stuffing his face with NCAA breakfast and then claims he's going to. No, he's going to be able to hobnobbing and hopefully get some good sound for tomorrow's show. I think he gets the coaches will be down there. A lot of people from ESPN. Final Four begins tomorrow night for the ladies in Tampa. And that'll be the first game is going to be South Carolina and Texas, followed by UCLA and UConn. Should be a great one. So the Braves win, the Braves lose, I should say, 6-5 last night. Shohei Ohtani, tie-breaking home run in the 9th inning on his bobblehead night of all things as well. And the Dodgers win over the winless Braves 6-5 on Wednesday. We got a lot to talk about today, a lot of NFL news. A lot of guests coming up today. Trevor Harris from WQAM makes his weekly visit at 8:05. NBA insider Patrick Gilroy will join me at 8:30. I believe he was with the Celtics last night. And John Meter-Perrell did a great job on the ACC network yesterday talking about the BC Pro Day. Interesting stuff from Meter. We'll get his take on that and a whole lot more. Yeah, the Celtics lost last night to Miami. I had shekels on the Heat. When you come off, when any team comes off any big-time road trip, whether it's 4, 5, or 6 games, it's pretty inevitable that they are going to lose their first game at home. Last night, so no Porzingis, no excuses because they won plenty of games this year without having their full arsenal. No excuses last night, but they just came off an historic road trip. This is going on in the NBA for decades. This is just how it works. It doesn't matter how good you are, how bad you're going to come off a big-time road trip, especially for the Celtics. Yeah, Brown and Tatum played last night, but still, no Porzingis, no Horford. So I didn't think they were going to win last night. They'll bounce back Friday and clobber Phoenix, a team they just whipped by 30 on the road last week. So I promise you they will rebound on Friday night. No big deal. What is a big deal for some, and we'll get to an NBA rundown, is the New York Knicks continue to be the New York Knicks. They can't beat the Celtics, and they can't beat the Cavaliers. They had a double-digit lead last night, early in the game anyway, on Cleveland, and then lost. But we got MLB news to talk about. What a great day for the Red Sox yesterday. Finally, it was Garrett Crochet doing what Garrett Crochet does. He has never gone 8 innings in his life, in his major league career. Threw 102 pitches yesterday, one shy of his high mark in his career. He was absolutely awesome. He was everything that you pay an ace for, which is why he got that big contract extension. And only gave up 4 hits, had 8 strikeouts in 8 innings. Red Sox got it going in the top of the second. How about Trevor Story?
And it's taking him under his wing. He said,
Story with a high fly ball deep to left field. Laureano back at the wall. Watch that baby go. It's gone. No.
Yep, and that put the Red Sox up 1-0 in the top of the second. Rafi Devers had a couple of hits and an RBI. And how about this little gem of a stat here?
This is a guy you can't walk. Rafael, it's 160 plate appearances without one now.
Well, he doesn't walk. You walk him.
Good point.
And there are just hitters that are like that.
There's guys that walk, and then there's guys that get walked.
Yep.
Well, he may get walked. August 9th was his last walk. He actually walked twice in there.
Yeah, there you go. That's the Baltimore Orioles network there, MASN. Before that, you heard Dave O'Brien over on NESN. Red Sox win 3-0. And also yesterday, as I said, Rafael Devers got a couple of hits and an RBI. And here's what he had to say through his translator after the game.
Obviously a big day for you, but a big day for the team as a whole with Garrett Crochet and also Christian Campbell. What does it mean to see everyone producing like that?
No, sabemos el equipo que tenemos, sabemos el pitcher que es Crochet, el pelotero que es Campbell, todo el mundo aquí hace su trabajo, Rafaela, Casa, todo el mundo sabemos los tipos de peloteros que somos y creo que esta negatividad de esos 4 juegos que hemos perdido, creo que se nos va a ir porque tenemos el talento y tenemos la confianza en nosotros mismos.
No, we know the type of players that we have, the type of teams that we are, so I know there was some negativity around the team with those 4 losses, but everybody has done their job. We know the type of pitcher, Gareis, Casas, everybody, Casas, Rafaela, they're doing their job, and we know that everything was going to change.
you said that you were very confident on Monday. Even so, to get that first hit, to get that first double down the line, like, do you feel a weight being lifted at that time?
Eso me hace coger como más respirar porque no hacia mí, sino que todo el mundo está escribiéndome y cosas como que si estoy mal, como que me pasa algo y no soy el tipo de persona que le gusta que le escriban tanto.
Yeah, no, to be honest, no, it was more for other people than for me. I knew it was going to come, but I also received a lot of texts from people worrying about me, and I was okay.
Yeah, I'm sure
so
the texts were all
it was
worried
more
about
for
you.
other people than for me.
So, speaking of those other people, though, like, how much did you enjoy the dugout reaction and the reaction of the crowd behind the dugout?
Mucho. Eso me pone feliz, me pone alegre, porque sabemos que siempre están atentos a mi turno, atentos a lo que hago, y eso es algo que me emociona.
No, I enjoy it a lot. It makes me happy. I seeing that reaction because that makes me see that they're paying attention to my at bat and they're supporting me, and it makes me feel very, very happy about that.
With Christian and Garrett signed up for quite a while, are you glad that there's a core growing around you in this club?
Sí, eso es algo me alegró bastante. Sabemos los peloteros que son, sabemos el talento que tiene y creo que eso va a ayudar bastante al equipo por muchos años y me siento contento porque ya lo va a tener compañero por mucho.
Yeah, it makes me happy. It makes me happy because we know that how talented they are, and to be able to spend a lot of years with them and in this team is something that makes me very happy.
All right, there you see is Rafael Devers right there with his interpreter. And what also happened yesterday, this was fantastic. The Red Sox locked up Christian Campbell with an extension. And before we get to his comments about that, let me see. Yes, we'll get to that in a second. Let's hear from Christian Campbell, who continues to play extremely well. His rookie season is very early. He has been outstanding. He got a sizable deal for the Red Sox. He had a couple of hits yesterday as well. And here he is talking about everything.
How much does it mean to you, like, this idea that, like, you've got about a week in the big leagues now, but you now have a pretty good sense of where you're going to be spending the next 8 to 10 years.
Right. No, it's a great place to be in front of a winning city, winning culture, winning people, and I'm definitely fortunate. I'm looking forward to being in Boston.
What does it mean to you for them to have that faith in you to make that commitment so quickly?
It means a lot. It means a lot. I mean, they developed me from day one. As soon as I got drafted, they've been working with me every day. I've learned something new every day, and they've helped me become the player I am today. So it means a lot to me that I'm with the Red Sox for a long time.
You say develop me. Like, what do you think is the thing that they did best? Like, put the ball in the air more. What do you think like they helped you with the most?
Everything. Putting the ball in the air more is one thing, but even defensively helping me work in the infield and outfield. I had some adjustments I had to make in spring training when it came to the infield, and I've made those adjustments, and they've helped me become a better player every day. And when it comes to the outfield, they're teaching me that still. It's still kind of new to me, but it's just from day one, no matter who I'm with, whether it's the guys in Greenville, or the coaches or staff in Greenville, or the major league coaches in Boston, everybody's been open and been willing to help me be a better player each and every day, and that's really important to me.
How much do you like the idea that like you're not going to have to ask yourself the question about like anything related to negotiations for the next 8 years? That like you can just come to the field and it's about baseball.
Yeah, that's really good. I was talking to my family about that. I just got to worry about baseball now. Everything that's happened is life-changing for sure, so that's why we're really happy about it, and I'm looking forward to just playing baseball now, winning games.
They got Garrett in the fold this week too. Like how do you feel about what they're building here and their ability to attract good players and hold on to them?
Yeah, we're building something really good. I mean, we have a lot of great players, and locked down, like you said, we got Rafaela, Bayo, Crochet, and now me, so going in the right direction for sure. But we got a lot of great players out here and a lot of great talent, so we're going to be good.
How much does that relax you, just to be able to focus on ball now and play your game?
It's definitely relaxing that it's over with now, and now all I have to do is just go out and focus on baseball with my team and help win games, as many games as possible.
All right, Christian Campbell, yesterday, right before the game, we found out the Red Sox signed him, and they did a really smart thing here. They locked him up for 8 years, which means we'll go through the 2034 season. It's worth about $60 million. He's, according to ESPN, the deal includes 2 club options, a $19 million option for 2033 with a $4 million buyout, and a $21 million option for 2034 with no buyout. But that seems, that's 9 years away. So who the hell knows? He's only 22 years old, the consensus minor league player of the year. Good job by the Red Sox, locking him up very much like they did back in the day with Dustin Pedroia. They, once he went Rookie of the Year and MVP, and they locked him up, I think it was right after his rookie season, for like 7 years, doing a great job there, and doing the same thing with Christian Campbell, because he seems to be the real deal. Love this kid, love his demeanor, love his attitude. He's not as fast on the base paths as I thought he might be, but nevertheless, it's very good. Remy says, refreshing to hear such a candid take on sports. Building genuine perspectives is vital. Yeah, that's what I do. I tell it like it is. I will not be the Los Angeles Lakers radio and TV network. I won't do it. The only backhanded comments I heard this morning on ESPN's radio before I came on this morning was how the Celtics won't be able to stay together in so many years. They just want them to lose so badly. It's just absolutely hysterical. Well, I got news for everybody. They're going to all be together for the most part for at least the next 3 years. And I believe, as I've said, despite the loss last night, which most teams in the NBA would lose a game like that last night, historic road trip, not worried about it at all. They'll come back on Friday night, and I think they're just rooting nationally for the Lakers to somehow hang on. And I don't think if they play Golden State, they won't get out of the first round. So I've been pretty good with my predictions on them. As far as they're not going to get out of the second round. And now if they have to play Golden State, if things stay relatively the same, they have to play Golden State, I don't think they get out of the first round. So they just don't have it. There's lots of NFL news to tell you, but we'll get more into MLB news as well, some NBA. As I said, later on, 8 o'clock, Trevor Harris from WQAM will join me, NBA insider Patrick Gilroy at 8:30, John Meter Perrell, BC play-by-play guy, and ACC Network will join me in the 9 o'clock hour. We'll get to Ovechkin's goal last night, and they lost, and there's some brawling going on last night in hockey with the Washington Capitals and Ottawa Senators. We'll get to all that as well. And again, thanks for checking us out across the video platform. Angel is off today, so I can't play any video, so it's just going to be all audio today. Let's check in with some of the latest NFL news. We'll hear from Jerry Jones. We'll hear from Mr. Lurie as well from the Eagles coming up in just a minute here. Here's Atlanta's Arthur Blank says Kirk Cousins has handled himself with nothing but class despite a very difficult situation.
I want to say this about Kirk. I mean, I didn't know him. He, 6 years in Washington, 6 years in Minnesota, a year with us. Over that period of time, I mean, he has been an outstanding, not a good, but really one of the top 5, 6, 7, 8 quarterbacks.
I know coaches that coach him. They'd want their daughter to marry him. He is a Class A individual.
That's the point I was going to make, Jimmy. He is a great human being, smart as heck, great family, great spiritual beliefs, great heart, cares about his players, cares about the locker room, has a great sports system at home, a chance to get to know his wife and his kids a little bit, and her family that live in Atlanta. And I think he's whatever ends up happening with Kirk, I wish him well. I want it to be good for him, for his family, because he's meant a lot to the National Football League. And he gave it his all with us. I mean, it didn't work out. But it wasn't, there's nothing we can go back and recast, the decision at that time. But we are today. And I agree with you. I think he'd be a great backup quarterback. And if things develop and he ends up moving on, he moves on. I have nothing but good things and good feelings about Kirk Cousins and how he's handled himself. And I will say this in addition to that, is that, when we made a decision to start Michael and Raheem, Coach Morris spoke to Kirk. Kirk, like every athlete, he said, I wish it was me. But he said, I understand. I totally get it. Totally supportive. I'll be the best, quoting him, the best backup quarterback in the National Football League.
And he will.
And he was then.
Yeah.
I mean, he was great with Penix. He was great with everybody in the locker room. He did everything you could have asked him to do. So really fine human being.
Yeah, he is. He just didn't have he had a horrible year last year, and we'll see where he ends up. Could it be Cleveland? We shall see. Aaron Rodgers, by the way, still unemployed. Meanwhile, Sean McVay for the Rams discusses the pursuit of Devontae Adams and what the veteran wide receiver can bring to that organization.
He's a legitimate X. He can play all over the formation, Justin. I think one of the things I was so impressed with is I've always been such a fan of Devontae's game from afar. We've had a little bit of communication and interaction, just from competing against one another. Ran into him at the Derby a couple years ago. But this guy's body of work, the tape speaks to you. And his versatility, he can still work edges. He's been producing at a high clip for a really long time. The mentals, you can just see the way that he plays the game. And then he is wired to separate as good as anybody. He's a freaking stud. When it was a possibility that he was going to become available, that was something that we wanted to be aggressive with. And I was bothering the out of him when he was in Japan. I was sending him highlight tapes and stuff like that.
Cosplaying out there.
Oh man, it was. I said this is going to go one of two ways. He's going to either say this guy's whacked, or man, I think I'd like to go hang with that guy and we'll have some fun together.
I think both can be true.
That's
might be
true.
the selling point, right?
That's right.
Gotta love Sean McVay, huh? Meanwhile, Vegas Raiders GM John Spytek says he's no stranger to opinions on what to do with number 6 in the 2025 NFL Draft.
I actually have some inside information. Your son has a request. Jack, is it Jack, your son?
Jack, my oldest son, yeah.
What is his request with some of these draft picks? I'll tell you my inside source later.
Yeah, I'm curious where you got this from, Mark Davis or Pete or something. But my oldest son has made it no secret that if we don't pick Ashton Genty at 6, that he's walking out of the family and he's going to find somebody else, probably whoever takes Ashton. I think he's motivated.
He's a free agent for fandom right now.
Yeah,
that's hilarious.
Yeah, Jack is motivated by fantasy football and touchdowns in fantasy football, not necessarily all of team building. But I love that my son loves the draft process at 10 years old, and maybe he's starting to fall in love with the scouting process. I hate it a little bit too because I know the life that he's signing up for, but the passion that he has. And he walked right into our building and basically told Mark Davis, like, if my dad doesn't take Ashton Genty, he's doing a bad job.
All right, interesting stuff there. Should be interesting. I think there's a very good chance that he may end up with the Raiders and Tom Brady. Meanwhile, not finally, but because we got a lot to do. We got a lot to talk about. There's some interesting stuff. Trey Hendrickson was on McAfee's show yesterday with the Bengals, and he's handling the situation out there pretty classy, but some interesting, refreshing, open comments by Trey Hendrickson, the great defensive end for the Bengals. That's coming up. And also Jerry Jones as well for the Dallas Cowboys. But for now, before we go break a little bit, let's go to Minnesota General Manager Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah talking about J.J. McCarthy's recovery.
Right off the bat here, okay? Because I can't walk 10 feet at this meeting without somebody telling me a conspiracy theory about your quarterbacks. I can't go on social media. Give me where we actually stand, the Vikings quarterback plan for 2025.
Yeah, we're excited about J.J. McCarthy, somebody that we identified in the draft process last year as somebody not just from an arm talent, athleticism, but a processing standpoint, but just a work ethic. You know, we talk a lot about leadership and having your quarterback embody what your culture is. And he's somebody from a positive attitude, the way he cares about his teammates, all those different things that we want to be our starting quarterback for a long time. I want to chase this thing with Kev, him, myself, the alignment we have together. And so we're excited about him and what he's brought. Obviously he had an injury and a setback, but we're excited about everything he's done from that point. And we're going to go forward with that. We're going to look to obviously always add depth to that room to upgrade it. But we've set out to build a type of team that's very quarterback friendly to a young player from a running game, from a defensive standpoint. A lot of the moves we made in free agency was with that in mind, and we're excited about where we're going forward.
JJ, having that injury, missing obviously all those rests, but that can be a dark time for a young player. There's a lot you got to get through mentally and physically. How has he handled that? And to the extent that how does he look right now?
He looks great right now. And obviously there were some, probably some missteps or, struggles with the injury, as a lot of players can have. When something that you love that much, it almost shows what you loved about the player, how much he loves the game and how much it matters to his life and brings central and focus to his life. And so once you remove that, there's going to be sometimes some struggles with that. But he approached everything with a can-do and unbelievable mentality to approach every task to be the best version of himself. Again, that's why he's somebody we want to embody our leadership and our culture. And so, yeah, he's been in a great spot. Every checkpoint, as I said the other day, he's exceeded. Every throwing session, every workout. I mean, the kid is so detail and process oriented. We had him do projects when he was injured. I had him do some personnel projects just to, talking with some of my other GM friends and just, hey, what did you do with great players when they had time off? And I had him do a personnel project, and the level of detail that this guy does, I didn't really give him much ground. He just, hey, go. And he did an amazing job. So that's the type of person we're dealing with, the type of wiring we're dealing with. So we're excited about what he's going to bring.
That's awesome. Minnesota GM right there. And we'll have more NFL news. Going to take a quick break. When we come back, as I said, defensive end Trey Hendrickson on the McAfee show yesterday said some very interesting things. A good conversation there. Again, I can't play video today, only audio, because Angel is hobnobbing with the women's Final Four people in Tampa this morning having breakfast. Also, Jerry Jones, some interesting stuff on Micah Parsons, and said doesn't give a crap about agents and all that. But anyway, hey, I want to remind everybody, head on down to Phil Castanetti's Sports World in Saugus, Massachusetts. It's New England's place to buy or sell the finest in sports memorabilia. For over 35 years, Sports World has offered the finest in sports collectibles. They got a big event going on this weekend. It's the 50th anniversary of the 1975 Red Sox appearing at Sports World on Saturday, April 5th from 11 a.m. until noon. Guys like Rick Wise and Tim Blackwell, Rick Kruger, and Steve Dillard will all be on hand appearing at Sports World. Their autographs are available, $20 each. Photos and baseballs will also be available. So get on down there to Phil Castanetti's Sports World, 184 Broadway in Saugus. Call 781-233-7222 for more information. That's 781-233-7222 for more information. Sports World in Saugus, be there.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Anderson windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Anderson windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
Hey everybody, it's Pete Sheppard from the Coastal Sports Network. Want to tell you about my good friend Lou DiMuzio and his company. Lou is the president and founder of Ace Technology Advisors. They're big-time tech specialists. At ATA, they're able to craft, implement, and manage the best and most appropriate solution for your business. They leverage their industry-leading experience and their portfolio of technology partners to improve your best practices and infrastructure. So you can get a hold of them at 888-599-4223. That's 888-599-4223. Check them out on their webpage, www.acetechadvisors.com. That's www.acetechadvisors.com. Or you can email them, sales@acetechadvisors.com. Check out my friend Lou DiMuzio and Ace Technology Advisors.
To some people, the sound of a baby babbling doesn't mean much. But that's not necessarily true. By 6 months, they're combining vowels and consonants. By 9 months, they're trying out different kinds of sounds. And by 12 months, their babbling is beginning to take on some meaning. Especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Early screening and intervention can make a lifetime of difference and unlock a world of possibilities. Take the first step at autismspeaks.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
The following is made possible by Dad.
Why was the basketball court all wet? Because the players kept dribbling all over it.
The dad joke. Corny, grown-worthy, but also one of the simplest ways to share a moment with your kids.
Why do you have to be careful when it's raining cats and dogs? Because you might step in a poodle.
And kids that spend more time with their dads grow up to be smarter, more successful.
Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding.
And, with any luck, funnier adults.
Why didn't the skeleton go to the dance? Because he didn't have any body to go with.
Dad jokes rule. So take a moment to make a moment and give your kid a laugh. It's as easy as going to fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
That's really funny.
Okay, men, this is your time. Maybe you didn't choose this, but you're here now. You're gonna go out there and be an all-star caregiver. It's up to you. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna go grocery shopping, cook, clean, be there emotionally and physically. You gotta dig deeper. Drive them to physical therapy, doctor's appointments. Don't you forget about the pharmacy. I know you won't, because that's what caregivers do. Don't give up. Don't ever give up. This is your time to show the world, your family, and yourself that you're tougher than tough. Now go out there and be the best caregiver this world has ever seen. Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick, and proud aunt. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing. But not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. 1 in 6. That little girl sitting alone at the playground, she can't play like the other kids. She doesn't have the energy because she's hungry. School lunch will be her only meal today. It breaks my heart that this is the reality in our country, but it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste. This food is then provided to families and children in need. Being a kid should be about using your imagination, learning, and having fun. These children shouldn't have to miss out on simply being a kid because they're hungry. To find out how you can help end childhood hunger in your community, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Don't spaz out because your team lost. Let Pete do it for you. Now, back to the Pete Sheppard Show.
What about your reaction to Luigi Mangione? I was reading up, that perhaps he's been supportive of what he did. What is your take on that?
If you were reading up, I don't think you read up on it. Because I said what I felt about it, and I said what a lot of people said.
Some people took it that way. So could you clarify what you think?
No, I'm not going to just have some controversial moments so you can get clicks. I'm not doing that. I'm here for Conan. I'm not doing all of this. What are you going to bring up next? The Middle East? I went to summer school 3 out of 4 years in high school. I'm not qualified to talk about it.
I was just going to bring that down.
What do you think about global warming?
You said about Elon that he was ruining Earth, I saw on The View. You're critical of him. What do you think of all the boycotts, like even the violence?
I don't watch the news. I don't watch the news. I have no idea what's going on. I watch Instagram. I watch people wipe out on motorcycles. I watch lions and hyenas fight each other. This is the things that I do. And I don't think you should be asking a comedian. You're a journalist.
Comedians are on top of current events.
No. That's weak. That's you guys passing the buck. You guys need to have balls again, which you don't. You guys always goes, should we be thinking this? Duh. You guys present stuff like that. You guys used to have balls. You need to get your balls back. And it's not my job. I am a dancing clown.
Bill Burr, gotta love it. I don't even know where the hell he's at. I see Wells Fargo. He was at some event last night, and all these couple of journalists going up to him and asking about world peace and a whole bunch of other shit. And he's about as genuine as gets. Go get some balls. Get your balls back. They come to me. Anyway, welcome back to the Pete Sheppard Show. I thought it was kind of funny. Yesterday, I saw that, and I don't even know what event he was at, but they're asking him all these serious, which he addresses a lot in his stand-up, and he's funny as hell. Not just because he's from Massachusetts, great guy. Seen him several times. He is absolutely terrific. Anyway, welcome back to the Pete Sheppard Show here on the Coastal Sports Network. Thanks for checking us out. Follow me on X, or Twitter, whatever you want to call it, at PShep326. Also on the CSN Florida Twitter account and Facebook page. My Facebook page, Rumble, Kick, YouTube, LinkedIn, 727-858-6650. You can text the show today. You can't call in because Angel is at the Final Four, Women's Final Four breakfast thingy today. SR 1029, the game, you see it right there. If you're in your car or you can't watch the show, you want to download the app, that's what you want to see. There's links on all of my social media platforms. Just click it on, and it comes in much better. All right. Yesterday, as we continue with the NFL, we're going to do some NBA stuff. Get as much crammed in as possible. Then I got 3 guests lined up. Trevor Harris from WQAM at 8:05. 8:30 is Patrick Gilroy, a great NBA insider, and then also the host of the podcast, or co-host of the podcast, Cat and Pat, heard on this network right here on the Coastal Sports Network. And John Meter Perrell, he was at BC Pro Day. In fact, he hosted it. A fine job by Meter on the ACC network. Outstanding job with him and his crew. And we'll hear from him how that went, and also get his thoughts on everything else that's going on in the world of college football. Okay, so yesterday on Pat McAfee show, Trey Hendrickson was on there. He is not happy with the way the Bengals have been treating him thus far, but he seems to be handling it pretty well. But here he is with the boys yesterday. Defensive end, great defensive end for the Bengals, Trey Hendrickson.
When Katie Blackburn says, he should be happy at, certain rates, does she mean like a specific rate that they have kind of communicated to you about a possible extension, or is she talking about the current deal that you are on right now? Like, what do you think she meant when she said, he should be happy at certain rates and some of it, is on you?
Well, full transparency, I'm not going to go into all the details, but there are things that I'm willing to do and willing not to budge on. I don't think I want to play for incentives that will be out of my control. I don't think I want to play for a short-term contract and see where it goes. I would like to tell my wife, here's where we're going to live. Here's where we're going to build a family together. And some of those things come from, what I've been able to do on the football field. I like that to do the talking for me. I stay out of it with all the trade stuff. I stay out of it with all the contract stuff, and really these things that get me to do these things. I would prefer not to address these things with the media. But again, if I'm hearing from X or Twitter or whatever it's called on details on my contract that aren't privy to me, or happiness that I'm not feeling under certain situations, it's, you can say respect, but respect is something that I have for Zach Taylor, and I take that approach every day, being on time, communicating with him, and telling him that yes, sir, I'm going to do the right things and all those things. And there's a mutual respect. Just to say the word respect, and then actions are speaking a lot louder in a different direction.
R-E-S-P-E-C-T. Yeah, respect. It seems like a very messed up situation. Not surprising by the Bungles, and I thought they were getting over themselves when they signed T. Higgins and the other receiver there. His name's slipping my mind right now. Anyway, but this happened on Tuesday at the NFL's annual meeting. Katie Blackburn, the Bengals executive vice president, said of Hendrickson again, quote, "I think he should be happy at certain rates that maybe he doesn't think he'd be happy at." That's just stupid. That is just dumb. You don't say stuff like that. You just don't. I expect Jerry Jones to say something like that. She goes on to say, I think some of it's on him to be happy at some point, and if he's not, that's what holds up sometimes. So, it takes him to say yes to something, and also we have all the respect in the world for him. Doesn't sound like it. 17 and a half sacks he's had each of the past 2 years. He said yesterday was the other day, was April Fool's Day, so I was traded to all 31 teams, blah, 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 blah. Hendrickson said the Bengals have not committed with his agent directly about his contract, saying that has been, quote, something that's been a little bit frustrating. So he said, we're on the D-end, National Football League street. The market value for that going up like it did for wide receivers last year. Where I fit in that road is all up to discretion. We're willing to talk about those things. With the market continuing to go up, I'm not going to apologize for that because I've been basically asking for the same thing every year, to be solidified as a Cincinnati Bengal for life. So he's set to enter the final year of his contract. Said the team told him in a meeting with his agent last year that something would get done with his contract this year, which he said he was reiterated at the scouting combine back in February. He said, quote, open line of communication is always open with me and my agent. So if they have anything they'd like to discuss, we've been nothing but willing to listen. Again, 31 years old, coming off his best season in the league, led the NFL in sacks and was named the All-Pro for the first time in his career. Hendrickson also made the Pro Bowl for this fourth straight season. However, at $21 million, he ranks 10th amongst edge rushers in annual salary. And I look for him. He's probably looking to double that. Probably getting close to Myles Garrett money. He's looking to double that, or at least get over $30 million. And the Bengals better come up with it, because otherwise it's going to be an unhappy guy. Speaking of unhappy guy, but always reasonable, I say that tongue-in-cheek, is the one and only Jerry Jones, who yesterday or the other day, talking about Micah Parsons' agent, David Mulugeta, who we wouldn't even mention by name, I believe that's how you say it, one of the most well-known and recognizable agents, but Jerry Jones doesn't seem to care. And here's his thoughts. And this was with John Makota from The Athletic.
And are you kidding me? That's just not something that you should worry about. You should be worrying about your ability to make it work, and you should be worried about what the player does. Does he have good enough health? Does he have enough skill to do what you're paying him the money for? The agent is not a factor here, or something to worry about. And I don't know his name. And so my point is that
That's bullshit.
I'm not trying to demean you in any way, but this isn't about an agent. The agent doesn't have one thing to do with what we're doing when we get on a football field against a team. Micah does. To the degree I'm involved, I do. The people that have something to do with what we do going forward relative to our fans in football are me and the player, not the agent. And I'm not demeaning the agent. I'm just saying anybody can do this, and that's talk directly to a player. And frankly, most people that negotiate me will tell you that they were better off than negotiating with anybody, Stephen or anybody involved. So this is not uncommon. I've wished directly with as far back as Emmett, Dion.
Oh my God.
And we, by the way, maintained a relationship that lasted well after their playing days.
OMG. You delusional man. You are delusional. The fact that you wouldn't even say David Mulugeta's name. It's childish, number one. It's just childish. Yeah, the agent doesn't matter. Yeah, the agent doesn't matter. Sure. That's just, that's wonderful. Keep telling yourself that. And you'll continue to be the only team in the NFC that hasn't made the championship game in the last, 36 years. Let me see. What else? This is another great NFL soundbite from yesterday, or 2 days ago, I should say, because the meetings have wrapped up in West Palm. But powerful. Eagles general manager Howie Roseman, and I love this, says the Eagles will not even scout players who have been convicted of domestic violence.
So for us, we have some objective things that I can't even overrule, and they're ours, but, for one, like, violence against women. Like, it's just not for us,
right.
That doesn't mean, so it's like, I won't even watch them. I don't even want to talk about it. It just is deal breakers for us. So I can't go, but he's really good and he did it 10 years ago and he learned from it. It just doesn't work for us.
Refreshing. Now, let's, so far the Eagles have been true to their word like that. It's very difficult. Because everybody believes in second chances and everything and all that stuff. But the fact that it would really be interesting, though, if there was like some big-time number overall pick that was accused for alleged domestic abuse if the Eagles would not draft him. But for now, I have to take Roseman at his word right there. And that's refreshing. Says they won't do it. They will not even scout anybody who's been accused of it. Let's get to some more NBA news as well. Sam Sharanaya was on the McAfee show yesterday as well, and everybody wants to find out what's going to happen with Kevin Durant. The general consensus is he wants to come to the Celtics. I don't want him on the Celtics, considering who they would have to give up. I don't want to mess with this team at all, not for the next 3 years. Despite what some of the national media think is going to happen next year, it won't be next year. It'll be a couple years later. But I don't want Kevin Durant on my team. But Sam Shania went on McAfee and said talked about where he might end up.
For BC, for his Celtics, there was a lot of mutual interest between Kevin Durant and the Celtics in the summer of 2022 when he asked for a trade. And I know right now you probably hate me saying this. They offered Jaylen Brown. They offered Derek White. They offered a first-round pick.
I remember.
Brooklyn had said no, and they kept him. And then they ultimately traded him for a haul from Phoenix. So it's just tough now, even if the Celtics had interest, even if Kevin Durant wants to go badly to the Boston Celtics now, from a cap machinations perspective, they would have to trade 2-3 players, significant players. We're talking like guys like Drew, Jaylen Brown, Porzingis, multiple guys just to get Kevin Durant.
No. Don't make that face. Finals MVP.
BC, you would do that. You would do that, BC. You would trade Jaylen and
I would never do that, but I don't know if you guys have seen, Sharman, old 55, the boy we got from Creighton last year. He's a hooper, brother. And by the way, hey, who's the G League MVP? Sean, why don't you tell the people?
J.D. Davidson.
Oh,
just saw
J.D.
that.
Davidson. Who's he play for? Oh, the Maine Lobster Claws, or whatever their name is.
You
guys are getting younger and better, huh?
Yeah.
They might be the Maine Celtics now, though. So shout out Maine.
The Maine Lobster Claws are a problem, dude.
You have no idea.
I think maybe Bronny didn't get to play in enough games, though. That's probably why he wasn't the MVP, because he was splitting time with the Lakers and the G League.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, maybe that's why the Lobster Claw was able to get the MVP.
I mean, you don't want to see the Claws break it down on defense, brother.
Well, I was actually in Maine the other day, Bangor, Maine.
Great place.
I stopped by Bangor, Maine. Shout out to my guy, Joe. Joe was awesome on the plane, off the plane. The Maine Celtics now, but they are a Lobster Claw away.
Yeah, I mean, look, when I loved and lived and died with them, they were the Lobster Claws. So what do you want from me?
Yeah, you're an old...
Yeah, I didn't realize that. I'm still not sure who they're talking about, but he's a member of the Maine Celtics in the G League, and he's the MVP. Unbelievable. All right, let's get to more from the NBA last night. The New York Knicks, they cannot get out of their own way when they play the Celtics in Cleveland. It's like it's their Superman maybe, and the Celtics and Knicks and the Celtics and Cavaliers are kryptonite. They did it again last night. They were okay early.
Hart thought about it. Instead goes to DeLon Wright. Poor spacing that time. Shot clock winding down. Hart has to hoist up a three and knocks it down as the shot clock expires to tie the game. Josh Hart with
that with Brunson out at times, Mike. And this is an emergency shot. And great concentration for him. He started this game 2 for 3. He's now 3 for 8 from.
Yeah, that tied the game at 83 in the third quarter. Earlier, the Knicks had a double-digit lead in the first half, but that went away. Donovan Mitchell, all in the fourth quarter, though, as the Cavaliers pull away.
And if you're just tuning in, Knicks led by 15 in the first half. Shannon can't hit that, but they have gone cold from three-point range. Mitchell has not, just the opposite. Mitchell, another three. He's got 20.
Donovan Mitchell in transition. Keep pushing the pace. You know your opponent is in a back-to-back. Got in late. Quick look.
Yep, 124-105 the final. Knicks get clobbered, ended up losing by 19. Indiana and Charlotte last night, an easy win for the Pacers in the end, and Halliburton with an incredible play here.
Collapse that defensive attack and get a free one. He just popped it free, another deflector. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
Obi Toppin from Halliburton. But again, Quinn.
Really active with the hands. Well, top. Give it up to Obi. To give you one to finish it out with a sweet two-handed bumper.
All right, thanks there to the FanDuel Sports Network. Washington over Sacramento in a game no one gives a shit about, 116-111. Celtics, as I said, off that big-time road trip going 6-0. They lay an egg last night, no surprise. But did have this Torrey Craig highlight.
What's the difference between it? 2 steps faster, 2 steps slow?
They're both legal.
The C's can generate some offense here. Oh, yeah. Torrey Craig on a springboard. Yeah, good pass by Tatum on the kick ahead. All right, so watch this kick ahead. Tatum right away knew it. Torrey Craig rising.
Yep, but Miami won 124-103. It wouldn't have mattered who the Celtics put out there last night or who they were playing. It was more probable than not they were not going to win that game. They'll bounce back on Friday night against the Phoenix Suns. Houston clobbered Utah, who shouldn't even be in the league, 143 to 105.
Rockets by a dozen. Smith facing up Juzang, lowers the shoulder, drives into his body, misses it, stays with it the third time, scores, and gets the foul.
A little bit of juice there for Jabari Smith Jr. staying with the ball. He just kind of had it in his mind. I'm going to score this.
Yeah, thanks again to the Space City home network. Houston wins 143-105, won by 38 points. Dallas and Atlanta in a nail-biter.
Entry pass to Davis. Onyeka meets him at the three-point line. AD going up and in with 3.4. Timeout Atlanta. What a shot. He makes it look so easy. Anthony Davis now with 34. One more look at the AD shot.
Or AD, man, that's a wonderful shot. Great concentration, stuck with it.
Dallas over Atlanta, 120 to 118, ended up being the game winner. Meanwhile, more problems for Russell Westbrook.
Talk to someone who's seen him, and they say he looks great. But whether he's going to return, we'll see. Final 3 seconds, and it's stolen by Mamu. Wow. A costly turnover there. Now Westbrook will take the long heave, and that is the end of the first quarter.
He's in a rut. So are the Nuggets, even though Jokic had a triple-double, an unbelievable game the other night, 61, 10, and 10. It was Russell Westbrook that people were talking about because he missed the bunny at the end and then committed a foul that allowed the Gophers to win the game. Not the Gophers, the Timberwolves to win the game. Here's more. Oh, actually, no. OKC, they clobbered Detroit 119 to 103. The MVP SGA.
Here's Gilgeous-Alexander being guarded by Harris. Got the bucket to go with the left for the veterans, along with Tobias Harris, with a wonderfully settling effect on this Pistons squad. SGA got to the rim again. That's his second field goal. Brings the Pistons back to within 5. It's a quick 2-game road trip for Detroit. Alexander on the cross and clean. Float game is pure.
You get the idea. He was outstanding last night. When is he not? And easily OKC 119, Detroit 103. It is going to be really interesting in the West to see if OKC can finally get over the hump. Besides the Celtics, they're probably the second deepest team in the NBA. But can they get over the hump? We'll see. We shall see. And I hope they do. Because I hope it's the Celtics and OKC in the NBA final. Although I really, as much as I hate on the Lakers, the NBA would love to see, obviously, a Celtic-Laker final. It's been the highest rated game all year. That game last month on a Saturday night that the Celtics won by, 20? Or whatever it was. They were up by 20. They might have won by 10. Anyway, I know the NBA wants that to happen, but I think the Lakers are going to have a hard time. I think they're going to have a hard time now making it out of the first round. Things stay the same, and they have to play the Golden State Warriors. Let's see. All right. Let's get to some NHL, and then we'll get to maybe some MLB stuff as well from last night. Colorado over Chicago last night in the NHL, 3-2. In overtime, the Rangers and Minnesota is how it ended.
Trocheck with Panarin and Keandre Miller. Trocheck in. Trocheck takes it around the net. Marco Rossi, Brock Faber, and Matt Bolding on for Minnesota. Down low, they score! Vincent Trocheck! Game winner in overtime!
And he goes right to the bench. Watch him, number 8. Wins it. Now he goes right to the bench. Trocheck will come off the bench, circle around. He'll end up with the puck. Now they have control, and they're able to carry it in the zone. And eventually, Trocheck will go to the net, stick on the ice. Beautiful pass from Panarin. Absolutely gorgeous pass. And a little deflection went right underneath the pad of Gustafsson, who probably should have had that. But there's the stick on the other side.
Yeah, he should have had it.
Trocheck gets enough of it, and the Rangers get that all-important second point.
And they do thanks to MSGSN, Madison Square Garden Sports Network. Carolina over Washington 5-1, but this is all anybody really cared about in this game.
35 seconds to go in the period. There's Ovechkin score! Career goal number 892.
Ovechkin, 892. They lose 5-1, but he's now 3 away from breaking Gretzky's record. Meanwhile, Toronto and Florida in a nail-biter.
Who takes over? 5 minutes left here in the third. Leafs looking for their first win. In 3 against Florida tonight. Scores! And it's a 2-goal Toronto lead. Yell for it, but look at the quick turnaround and saw Nyes puts his stick in the air, doesn't even want to say anything, knocks it down off the post and off the back pad.
Just the beauty of a pass, saucered over the stick.
All right, yeah, but Toronto hung on and they beat Florida by a score of 3-2. Seattle blanked Vancouver by a score of 5-0. All right, quick break here. When we come back, Trevor Harris will join us from WQAM in Miami, and we'll find out what's going on the East Coast. And I always like to wake him up at 8:05. It's all part of the Pete Sheppard Show here on the Coastal Sports Network.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Anderson windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Anderson windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
Hey, everybody, it's Pete Sheppard from the Coastal Sports Network. Want to tell you about my good friend Lou DiMuzio and his company. Lou is the president and founder of Ace Technology Advisors. They're big-time tech specialists. At ATA, they're able to craft, implement, and manage the best and most appropriate solution for your business. They leverage their industry-leading experience and their portfolio of technology partners to improve your best practices and infrastructure. So you can get a hold of them at 888-599-4223. That's 888-599-4223. Check them out on their webpage, www.acetechadvisors.com. That's www.acetechadvisors.com. Or you can email them, sales@acetechadvisors.com. Check out my friend Lou DiMuzio and Ace Technology Advisors.
To some people, the sound of a baby babbling doesn't mean much. But that's not necessarily true. By 6 months, they're combining vowels and consonants. By 9 months, they're trying out different kinds of sounds. And by 12 months, their babbling is beginning to take on some meaning. Especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Early screening and intervention can make a lifetime of difference and unlock a world of possibilities. Take the first step at autismspeaks.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
The following is made possible by Dad.
Why was the basketball court all wet? Because the players kept dribbling all over it.
The dad joke. Corny, groan-worthy, but also one of the simplest ways to share a moment with your kids.
Why do you have to be careful when it's raining cats and dogs? Because you might step in a poodle.
And kids that spend more time with their dads grow up to be smarter, more successful.
Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding.
And, with any luck, funnier adults.
Why didn't the skeleton go to the dance? Because he didn't have any body to go with.
Dad jokes rule. So take a moment to make a moment and give your kid a laugh. It's as easy as going to fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
That's really funny.
Okay, men, this is your time. Maybe you didn't choose this, but you're here now. You're gonna go out there and be an all-star caregiver. It's up to you. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna go grocery shopping, cook, clean, be there emotionally and physically. You gotta dig deeper. Drive them to physical therapy, doctor's appointments. Don't you forget about the pharmacy. I know you won't, because that's what caregivers do. Don't give up. Don't ever give up. This is your time to show the world, your family, and yourself that you're tougher than tough. Now go out there and be the best caregiver this world has ever seen.
Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick, and proud aunt. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing. But not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. 1 in 6. That little girl sitting alone at the playground, she can't play like the other kids. She doesn't have the energy because she's hungry. School lunch will be her only meal today. It breaks my heart that this is the reality in our country, but it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste. This food is then provided to families and children in need. Being a kid should be about using your imagination, learning, and having fun. These children shouldn't have to miss out on simply being a kid because they're hungry. To find out how you can help end childhood hunger in your community, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
The Pete Sheppard Show. It's fun for the whole family, if it's dysfunctional.
Who takes over? 5 minutes left here in the third. Leafs looking for their first win. In 3 against 4 today. Scores!
Well, I thought he'd be back, but he's not. Back here at the Pete Sheppard Show, hour number 2. Always give the Scorpions for Trevor Harris a wake-up call, but maybe I'm a couple minutes early. I think he produced the game last night and Panthers lost to the Toronto Maple Leafs by a score of 3-2. Good morning, welcome back. This is the Pete Sheppard Show here. After Trevor joins us, Patrick Gilroy will join me at the bottom of the hour, our NBA insider, and then John Amita Perrell, who did a great job hosting on the ACC network, will be there. So now I got to do this again. There he is, the one and only Trevor Harris, joining me from across the way. Now my cut sheet won't come up. There we go.
Oh, no.
Hang on.
Who takes over? 5 minutes left here in the third. Leafs looking for their first win. In 3 against 4 today. Scores!
I'm assuming, Trevor, you produced that game last night. Tough loss for the Florida Panthers. How you doing? Good morning. What's happening over yonder across the way at Alligator Alley?
I actually was able to watch that game on my couch, and I officially have told this everybody. Like, I'm pressing the panic button after losing the 2 games against the Montreal Canadiens. I'm pressing the panic button. Make sure the Florida Panther fans know we're worried over here anyway. So that's what I'm saying over here.
I would not be worried at all.
I know. My thing is, I'm saying that because they've not played their best hockey. Their defense has been brutal, and I personally would rather have the 2 seed or the 1 seed. I feel it's going to be Toronto. I'd rather have the 2 seed than the 3 seed, honestly. Have the home ice advantage versus the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Forget the Maple Leafs.
Mm-hmm.
Forget it.
Okay.
You know what's going to happen. They don't get out of the first round. The only time they get out of the first round the last gazillion years is because Tampa Bay was banged up a couple of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
They won't. You want Toronto. You need them on that wall. You want them on that wall. You want to play Toronto. Anybody in the Stanley Cup playoffs, you want the Maple Leafs in the first round because it's inevitable they will lose. Happens every single year. Doesn't matter who they play. They're going down. In probably dramatic fashion, but they're going down nevertheless.
Only reasons I say this, I like to be able to sell my tickets. That is key. So if Toronto does win around and if Florida wins, I could sell my tickets. That's the thing. So I can make a little side money on the side as I produce all those games. I worked the Montreal game on Tuesday night. That was a brutal one, by the way. I will say that.
Well, Montreal's hanging in there with the 8th seed right now, and it's amazing because they're still a minus 25 in goal differential, but they're playing some great hockey.
Yes.
Look, how'd you like to be a Bruins fan? How'd you like to look at my team? I mean, they absolutely suck. Something.
Do you want Tortorella?
They stink.
You want Tortorella as a
yes, I do. I want Tortorella. That's what this organization needs right now. They need a Torts.
Okay.
Need
As
Tortorella.
as someone who's more displaced with his Flyer fandom, and has started pretty much has rooted the Dallas Stars the past like 5 years just for watch reasonable hockey, so I can enjoy the sport. The Flyers are like they fired Tortorella. I was like, you got to do more to get me back into it. Honestly, like you got to shake more things up anyway. So I will say this: Torch has not won anything since they got rid of the red line. I tell this to everybody, including the people down here. Like,
That's a
oh,
good
you have
point.
Torch. It's like he hasn't won since you guys got rid of the 2-line pass. And the Floridians is like, what's the 2-line pass? It's like, don't talk to me. That's what I say.
They must know what it is now. I mean, my God. I mean, there's so many transplants down here.
Yeah, the locals don't know. When I say the 2-line pass, a Bruins fan or a Montreal fan will look at me as like, I know what you're talking about. So,
yeah, God forbid you should explain the old New Jersey Devils trap.
Yeah.
I mean, that was man. They used to perfect that. They were always so tough to play. You could not get the neutral zone trap. You couldn't. That's why they got rid of it.
Yeah. I have a feeling Lou Lamoriello is trying to bring that back in a new twist, anyways, or that Devils organization. So that's how I feel. But
I love Lou to death. Great guy from Rhode Island. Used to see him all the time when I first got into broadcasting. Did a lot of hockey games. A lot of it was like doing pro games because it was my high school, Hendricken, and Mount St. Charles, and Lou's Lou's son played on Hendricken, so we'd interview him from time to time. Anytime it was the Devils weren't playing, he'd be there.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
I gotta tell you that.
That's
way better than me meeting Max Pacioretty at Starbucks in New Canaan, Connecticut. Anyways.
Oh, tell me about that.
So Max is from my hometown. Actually, that's the funny.
Okay.
He played at New Canaan High before he went to USA Juniors and stuff. And I did a little hockey as well. And he is a cool guy and stuff. And I was getting coffee at Starbucks. This was during the summertime. I think summer 13.
Yeah.
And this guy pulled out a beamer and I was like, what's up, Max? And he looked at me, he was like, Trevor? It's like, yeah. Talked it up for a little bit. Then I was like, I don't get my Starbucks. Like, do your thing, man. So I always root for my buddy. He was one of my good people I knew anyways. And now he's on Montreal. So now he's in Toronto. So it looks weird now anyways. So he's been like Montreal, Vegas, Washington, Carolina, Washington. He looks weird when it's not a Montreal uniform. That's what I always say. So that's why.
Really despise professionally, not personally, but man, he and the Bruins got into some interesting fights and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, those were fun. Like I always says, I know I need Boston to be good because I can get a good Boston Montreal rivalry back.
Need both of them to be good, and we needed to play more times than 4 times a year. It was back when they played each other 7 times. That's how you build brands, and that's how you build rivalries. And I wish they would get somewhat back to that.
I feel like they need to. I also feel they should just go back to 1 through 8, honestly, because I feel it'd be way better. Honestly, the first round you at least get some good matchups. Like a Toronto, like whoever would play.
But you got to have the divisions mean something. And I get where you're going. Hey, back in the day, it used to be 1 versus 16. It didn't matter where you were.
Agreed.
East or West. It did not matter. You could have the Bruins play Vancouver Canucks play Montreal. I mean, we saw Vancouver get in the heyday of the Islanders when they got the 4 straight Stanley Cups. Yeah. That was all 1 versus 16. Did not matter. It was the Prince of Wales Conference and the Campbell Conference. And, you had some really, really interesting matchups, East versus West.
Like, hear me out in the West. If it was 1 through 8, would you be down for Vegas and Edmonton first round?
Yeah.
Colorado, LA, 4-5. That's perfect.
Yep.
Your 2-7 is Dallas, Minnesota.
Yep.
Sign me up for.
By the way, the Blues have won 10 in a row.
They have won 10 in a row, which is crazy. Anyways, I would take that.
They've won 10 in a row, and they're still only a plus 18,
which is wild.
Yeah. I mean, there's no one that's going to want to play them.
No, I think they could probably chase Minnesota. I'll say that. I've seen
they're tied. They're tied right now. Well, no, they're 2 points behind. No, they're
tied right now.
They're tied with Minnesota. Yep, and 2 points behind Edmonton.
Yeah, so they could definitely chase whoever right now. Because right now it's like whoever's winning that Central, the 2-3 is already locked. Whoever's on the hot streak, they're gonna get the first wild card, and they're gonna most likely play Vegas, and now it'll be the most entertaining series of all time, anyways. So
yeah, it has the potential to be. It has the potential to be. So what? I wanted you to hear. Did you hear what Bill Burr said last night?
No, I did not hear what he said. So I don't
know where he was. I see he's in the back. Obviously, he's at. It's from the Combate. It's a Puerto Rican place. It's got 166,000 followers. I don't know. Bill Burr's at this thing, and he's just started ripping reporters.
Tell us about your reaction to Luigi Mangione. I was reading up, that perhaps you've been supportive of what he did. What is your take on that?
If you were reading up, I don't think you read up on it. Because I said what I felt about it, and I said what a lot of people said.
Some people took it that way. So could you clarify what you think?
No, I'm not going to just have some controversial moments so you can get clicks. I'm not doing that. I'm here for Conan. I'm not doing all of this.
Conan
What do you bring up next? The Middle East? I went to summer school 3 out of 4 years in high school. I'm not qualified to talk about this.
I was just
What do you think about global warming?
You said about Elon that he was ruining Earth, I saw on The View. You're critical of him.
On The View.
What do you think of all the boycotts, like even the violence
I don't
that's
watch the
going on
news.
at Tesla?
I don't watch the news. I have no idea what's going on. I watch Instagram. I watch people wipe out on motorcycles. I watch lions and hyenas fight each other. This is the things that I do. And I don't think you should be asking a comedian. You're a journalist.
Comedians are on top of current events.
No. That's weak. That's you guys passing the buck. You guys need to have balls again, which you don't. You guys always goes, should we be thinking this? Duh. You guys present stuff like that. You guys used to have balls. You need to get your balls back. And it's not my job. I am a dancing clown.
I love him.
I gotta give Bill the first star for the day. I have to give it out to Bill Burr for the day, anyway.
I was at some Conan O'Brien charity things for him. So
nice,
and
awesome.
Another Boston guy. At least
he's probably a top one of my favorite comedians. I've not seen his latest stand up.
The one on Hulu is good.
Okay, I canceled my Hulu a while ago. Anyways,
really?
Your boy's kind of cheap over here. He'd rather pay more for DirecTV so he can get all the sports channels anyway. So,
you weren't affected by MSG, and they almost lost the Yankees on DirecTV, and they're jacking up the price like $20. It's crazy.
So my parents
extra $20.
So my parents lost MSG. During
it's back now.
It's back now, but they lost it during the winter time. And I almost had to go up and tell them how to cut the cable finally because they don't know how to do that. And so they've been with Cablevision since the year of our Lord 2000.
Yeah.
And they've had the best deal of all time, a triple play, this, and this. Wow. I told them, like, you get rid of the internet, you keep the internet, you just make it more high speed. You take all the boxes, you bring it down to them. Yep. The problem is my mother is very much like, I don't want to do it. And I was like, well, here's the deal. Come to me when you can't watch your Mets and your Yankees, and we'll talk. Lo and behold, they got it back. It's like, we're not cutting the cord. Like, I'm not going to help you cut the cord now. So find someone else now. So ask my brothers. So.
Yeah, and my parents have both passed since a few years ago. My dad in 2014. I mean, but I would get the phone call at least once a week because they'd hit the remote, the input button, so it'd go off HDM1 to something else. Hey, what? Yeah, I can't get. How do I turn the closed caption off? How do I get? I said, just keep clicking input, and okay. I mean, they used to have a hard time just turning on the television.
Oh God.
I mean, just turning it on sometimes. It just it's like.
My parents got this big TV and stuff. There's a nice sound bar and everything.
Yep.
And they got they were tired of having so many remotes to like the DVD, this, and this.
Yeah.
This big one universal remote.
Yep.
And
that doesn't work either.
It does not. I said it's the worst idea ever. You're not going to know what you want to do with it or use it, and when it's important time. Because my mom was there when it got set up, my dad wasn't, and I kind of yell at them sometimes, like, "Why can't we fix this?" It's like, we don't know. It's like, we'll call the guy up, and no one wants to do it. So, assertiveness is not around the house sometimes.
I want to hear a funny story about all that shit when I was a kid. So when VHS came out, that was huge.
Oh yeah,
our first VHS was like 1985, and I think the first movie I ever watched on it was Return of the Jedi.
Ooh,
back in the day. That was when we got our first VHS. But it was so cool. My parents were freaked out about how you could record television shows back then.
Yes.
Used to set the VHS, weekly or nightly. And a lot of times, and we had a few of the movie stations. And so I remember one night, it was either some movie I really wanted to see, and I forgot what time was on, so I just stuck the tape in, and it started around 10 o'clock, and it went all the way through the morning. You could set the VHS tapes, remember?
Yep.
There were technically 2-hour tapes, but you can make it go to up to 6 hours if you wanted to by stretching it out. It wasn't great quality, but it wasn't high def, but it was certainly serviceable. So I would tape as many movies as I can. I come downstairs one morning on a Saturday after I just threw the tape on at 10 o'clock and I went to bed. Something like that. So the next morning, or it might have been Sunday, whatever it was, I find this note because it's taped from 10 o'clock in the morning on Cinemax to like 6 o'clock in the morning. So I find this note. My mother obviously saw that. I don't know what she did, but she went and rewound. And of course, there's some Cinemax shit late night, right? She puts this little sticky pad note on the VHS like, there's pornographic material on here. Who did this? And I went, are you serious, Ma? Are you really serious? I said, I taped. I think what Scarface I was taping. And
great movie.
I just said I wasn't sure what time it was on. I said I just threw the tape in. I go, Mom, what do you think happens on these movie stations late night? I said they show this guy. Well, then we're not gonna. I go, oh yes, we are. What up? Please stop it. I was like, stop it. I go, I'm 17 years old.
My mother hated me when I put on. Do you remember the old TV show Monster Garage and like Motorcycle Mania and stuff with Jesse James?
I didn't watch it, but I remember it.
So my mom hated that show, especially Motorcycle Mania, especially the third one. I recorded it. My brother stopped it. And I got so mad. I was like, this is 90 minutes. I'm never going to get back. And lo and behold, I was like, it's the worst thing ever I've seen on television. Like, stop it, mother, please. It's like, I already hate this. I hate how Jesse James is already dating a porn star already. So. That's
all right. Now, when last we spoke, you were opening day at the Marlins, and you sent me a picture.
Yes.
And I'm like, where are you, in Georgia? I mean, you got in. You won my little bet because I thought it would cost more than $25. I mean, it didn't cost $80, but it cost, what, $30, $35?
$30.
Yeah. How was the
parking gap, by the way? New parking
gap. Take over 6.5 in that game. It ended up being 5-4. But yeah, you were with Buddy, but you were
roof open.
You were in tough area to catch a foul ball. Let's put it that way.
So I go by this. I didn't know if the roof was going to be open. So I was like, this the first seat I got. I was like, I hope it's a nice one. So spent $34 for a seat, and lo and behold, the roof was open. I was like, okay, perfect. I can enjoy some outdoor baseball for once down in Miami for once. So and again, and all these Miamians were going to their seat. I was in the shade the whole time, so it was perfect. They all come to my rows, like, and I looked at like, just a bunch of softies. How I can't take the heat on. They all looked at me like, shut up, please. I just want to enjoy the baseball. I was like, this is the only day you'll get to enjoy baseball is you'll forget about this team like that. Anyways. But Paul Skeens was cool to watch. I'll say that. He was.
Oh, yeah.
That was my first time seeing him. It was also Sandy Alcantara's first time pitching since 2023. Yep. So it's a good reason to come to the ballpark, I like to say. So. I was
going to any torpedo bats. I find it was funny because we played the cut. The torpedo bat, which has been around for a while, people are just like freaking out over the dumbest things.
Yep.
That's because they're not informed, they're not educated, they don't do their homework. But it's I played the cut. It was yesterday or 2 days ago because it was invented. The torpedo bat was invented by a guy. Miami Marlins field coordinator Aaron Leanhart. Did you hear what he had to say?
I've heard some of the clips. He was on Local 10 WPLG and stuff.
Here's some of it. Quick.
So this has been in the works for a little while. How long do you think it takes guys to buy into new things in baseball?
Well, this has definitely been a project that's taken over 2 years to get to this point. So. Whether it's one off season, a full season, 2 off seasons, that tends to be just the time scale for guys to maybe not just buy in, but also for us to help make the adjustments to make it playable, actionable on the field for them. So a lot of guys will test stuff behind the scenes, but they won't take it to the field necessarily until it's really dialed.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think people were flipping out, and they're Major League Baseball, because they're stupid marketing. They're already talking about maybe banning it. I think it's absolutely ridiculous. I asked this to my buddy Bill Sparrows from the Boston Herald yesterday. Do you know how many Major League players, Trevor, last year hit over 300? Take a guess.
20.
Not even close.
10.
6.
Wow.
6 major leaguers with official at-bats only over 300 last year. That is ridiculous.
That's sad. I remember we used to praise a 300 hitter, like no one's business.
Well, yeah, I remember, from the Red Sox used to have a bunch of them. Yankees, too. I mean, it was.
Sheppard Jones was flirting with 300 a few times. I remember that was the story of the summertime. Anyways, it was like,
yeah, I mean, look, George Brett flirted with 400 once as well. The I forget, you're a Braves fan?
Cubs fan. Anyways, I was.
You're a Cubs fan. Yeah,
I am a Cubs fan. I didn't enjoy.
You saw what happened last night, right?
Oh yeah, I like when the Cubs are not playing. I like to watch the league, anyways, to be very informed. So I always watch the Cubs. Since they've been late nights, so I was like, okay, I gotta find someone to watch. So I was watching the Rangers and Red Sox for my first half, anyways, until the Cubs got on. So,
but then last night, Shohei Ohtani does it again.
Yep.
High fly ball to center field. Harris is back. Ohtani, inevitable. Ladies and gentlemen, embrace this.
Yep. Not if you're a Braves fan. Oh, God, they just find new and inventive ways to lose. Absolutely unbelievable. 0-7, Dodgers are 8-0. Crazy.
You hate to see it. Are they going to start flirting with 0-17 like the Cubs of 1997 at least?
I can't believe that. Or, I mean, last year the White Sox going on a couple times of 20-plus game losing streaks. I mean.
Marlins started 0-14 out the gate anyway, so people forget about that. I was like, give me 0-17 so they can tie the 97 Cubs at least. So
Red Sox finally got it going. Trevor Story had a home run. Christian, and they signed Campbell to a long extension. Smart move. They signed Garrett Crochet long term. He was awesome last night. Career high 8 innings. One shy of his total pitch count, a career high 102 and 8 Ks. They were good.
He was great on opening day. I was watching, anyways. He was very good.
He was excellent. He was great last night. He was pretty good on opening day. He was fantastic last night. Unbelievable stuff.
Did you see the Rangers? Did you see the Rangers won back-to-back 1-0 games?
Yeah, I know.
Going out 12-3.
I know. Crazy. Francona must be having that conniption.
It's the NL Central for you. You never know what's going to happen. So.
Yeah, a couple of days ago was in the first inning that Texas got the run, and yesterday I think it was in the fourth. They can't, all of it, and that's right after what's his name? Is he go crazy with the 7 RBI and 4 for 5 and all that stuff?
Yeah, Evaldi looked good. I'll say that. That dude is. I will say this. He going complete game, 99 pitches Tuesday night.
Yep,
very good. I'll say.
All right, what else you got? What's the big buzz at QAM?
Big buzz right now. The Heat beat the Celtics, which I'm very.
That meant nothing because I predicted they would lose that game. Yeah. Anytime you come off, not only they come off an historic road trip, it goes 6-0, but you look at any team coming off a road trip of 4, 5, 6 games, inevitably they will lose that game.
Yep,
at home.
So everyone's thrilled that the Heat are winning. They're going to be throwing about a play-in game, which I'm looking at like have fun with that. Honestly, I'm ready for the Chicago Bulls to blow them out, and if they make the playoff, I'm gonna be like, great, here we go.
No Miami Dolphin news at all. I mean, there's some hurricane news.
Everyone they're talking. I saw this in the Miami Herald. They want to take Ashton Genty, and I'm about to have my brain aneurysm. Just go after Omar Kelly, like. Omar, do you not understand? Trenches win football games, not cool pieces. Like Miami is like a nice sports car. You need to make some mud tires on it, anyways, because the team is not tough enough at all.
Genty might be going to the Raiders. Who knows? I mean,
that's what I'm thinking.
Get a crack at him. Yeah,
I already put the lock in. He's going to be a Raider because Pete Carroll loves a running back, anyways. It's high powered.
All right.
That's what my friend. People will talk about the Panthers and stuff. So
yeah, always a pleasure. Enjoy the rest of your day and your weekend, and we'll absolutely talk next week.
We will. I got to do the Panther game on Sunday at 5:30 as they play the
that's fun.
Red Wings.
Nice.
The Twa Red Wings on TNT. So probably be a 6:00 puck drop, anyways.
Oh God, on a Sunday night, nothing like those late afternoon games.
I'll take a 6:00 puck drop any day. So take care. Be well.
All right, bud. See you soon. There is Trevor Harris joining me here on the Pete Sheppard Show. Quick break again, and then Patrick Gilroy coming up next, NBA Insider.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Anderson windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Anderson windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
Hey everybody, it's Pete Sheppard from the Coastal Sports Network. Want to tell you about my good friend Lou DiMuzio and his company. Lou is the president and founder of Ace Technology Advisors. They're big-time tech specialists. At ATA, they're able to craft, implement, and manage the best and most appropriate solution for your business. They leverage their industry-leading experience and their portfolio of technology partners to improve your best practices and infrastructure. So you can get a hold of them at 888-599-4223. That's 888-599-4223. Check them out on their webpage, www.acetechadvisors.com. That's www.acetechadvisors.com. Or you can email them sales@acetechadvisors.com. Check out my friend Lou DiMuzio and Ace Technology Advisors.
To some people, the sound of a baby babbling doesn't mean much. But that's not necessarily true. By 6 months, they're combining vowels and consonants. By 9 months, they're trying out different kinds of sounds. And by 12 months, their babbling is beginning to take on some meaning. Especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Early screening and intervention can make a lifetime of difference and unlock a world of possibilities. Take the first step at autismspeaks.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
The following is made possible by Dad.
Why was the basketball court all wet? Because the players kept dribbling all over it.
The dad joke. Corny, groan-worthy, but also one of the simplest ways to share a moment with your kids.
Why do you have to be careful when it's raining cats and dogs? Because you might step in a poodle.
And kids that spend more time with their dads grow up to be smarter, more successful.
Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding.
And, with any luck, funnier adults.
Why didn't the skeleton go to the dance? Because he didn't have any body to go with.
Dad jokes rule. So take a moment to make a moment and give your kid a laugh. It's as easy as going to fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
That's really funny.
Okay, men, this is your time. Maybe you didn't choose this, but you're here now. You're gonna go out there and be an all-star caregiver. It's up to you. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna go grocery shopping, cook, clean, be there emotionally and physically. You gotta dig deeper. Drive them to physical therapy, doctor's appointments. Don't you forget about the pharmacy. I know you won't, because that's what caregivers do. Don't give up. Don't ever give up. This is your time to show the world, your family, and yourself that you're tougher than tough. Now go out there and be the best caregiver this world has ever seen.
Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick and proud aunt. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing. But not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. 1 in 6. That little girl sitting alone at the playground, she can't play like the other kids. She doesn't have the energy because she's hungry. School lunch will be her only meal today. It breaks my heart that this is the reality in our country, but it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste. This food is then provided to families and children in need. Being a kid should be about using your imagination, learning, and having fun. These children shouldn't have to miss out on simply being a kid because they're hungry. To find out how you can help end childhood hunger in your community, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Don't spaz out because your team lost. Let Pete do it for you. Now, back to the Pete Sheppard Show.
What's the difference between 2 steps fast or 2 steps slow? They're both legal. Yeah, the C's can generate some offense here. Oh, yeah. Torrey Craig on a springboard. Good pass by Tatum on the kick ahead. All right, so watch this kick ahead. Tatum right away, do it. Torrey Craig rising.
Well, you know what Torrey Craig is, one of your lead highlights last night, what kind of night it was going to be for the Celtics. But anyway, welcome back to the Pete Sheppard Show here on a terrific Thursday. It's April 3rd already. We welcome in our NBA insider, Patrick Gilroy, for 3 joining us. And I'm pretty sure you were I'm assuming you were at the game last night. Everybody needs to take a deep breath. Not everybody. I think people who follow the NBA realize this. It's not just the Celtics. It's been going on for decades. You come off a 4-5, or in the Celtics case, historic 6-game road trip. I had shekels. I took the 10.5 points last night with Miami. I didn't care who they were going to play. I said it on this show before the Memphis game, where they closed out 6-0, that when they come back home, they're probably more than likely going to lose that game. That's the NBA. It's been going on for decades. How you doing, Patrick? Good morning.
I'm doing well, Pete. I appreciate you being patient with me this week. It's put it this way: when Angel gets the link to this week's episode of the podcast, you'll understand why the week has been the way that it has been. But
Can we get a little preview, a little tease?
Well, as you know, between Katrina and I, we have 3 kids. 2 are killing it in life, and the title of the episode is called Rehab. So take it from there.
Oh boy, well, I'm sorry. Well, I hope
it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah. All right. Now, are you filming a movie? You're walking around.
No, I apologize. When I'm done here, I got to hop in the car and drive to Rhode Island to have meetings at CVS headquarters to go sell some candy.
Oh, I got you. Yes, CVS based in Providence. So they have nice headquarters over there.
Yeah, and on the way out, you can hit the casino, grab some lunch at Fred's Steakhouse there. So it's a good thing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So you were at the game last night?
I was. Yep.
Yeah. And I'm sure you had the same expectations I did. It was going to be, and not because Porzingis is sad, and because others, it didn't matter. They've won plenty of games this year with 2 and 3 starters not playing in the game. It's just the timing of it. I fully expected them to lose that game last night.
Yeah, this has been going on in the NBA since the NBA has been around, right? Since the merger with the ABA. You got a team, especially a good team, that has a great road trip. There's a natural exhale when you get home. Maybe if I've got some free time, I should go over like the last 30 years and find the likelihood. I'm going to say it's got to be over 75% of that home team loses that first game back after being on the road.
Yeah. I think Sean Grande tweeted out the radio play-by-play voice for the Celtics. He had the last 5 road trips of 4 games or more, and every game coming back was a loss. And that's just like that for everybody.
There's been a lot of hype this year, too, about the Celtics not being as dominant at home as they had been last year. And I think a lot of that has to do with timing and injuries. And the reality is this team hasn't been whole all season long, which sort of gives you the confidence going into the playoffs that if they've been resting guys strategically and they can be whole going in, there's really no team in the NBA that can compete with them, regardless of their home record. I just feel like people are searching for something right now to sort of pick apart the Celtics because it's very difficult to pick apart a team that's this dominant and has been this dominant for the last 3 years.
Totally agree. And when you listen to the Los Angeles Lakers radio and TV network, aka ESPN, it's vomit-inducing. Chris Canty this morning on their morning show gave a little backhanded comment to the Celtics by saying, well, they won't be able to keep everything together. These people keep thinking because the team gets sold that next year everything's going to be different. It's not going to be. It's going to be, to me, at least 3 years before some major crap happens. I'm not buying into they're going to to be dismantled like after the season. But let's first of all get through this season. This is one of the most dominant Celtics and deepest teams in my lifetime that I have ever seen. They're going to be very, very difficult to beat them, anybody. But
this is why, and I don't mean to cut you off, but this is why they've done such a great job with their drafting and development. So let's roll out the worst case scenario. You've got Tatum and Brown locked up long term. So let's say you have to shed some salary next year, the year after, and whether that's Porzingis or a guy like Drew Holiday. You know what? I have a lot of confidence. J.D. Davidson just won the MVP award for the G League.
Yes,
we know Drew Peterson can play. You know, these guys, Sam Hauser, nobody knew who he was 3 years ago.
Yep.
There's plenty of guys that can come in and fill the pipeline, and look no further than Michael Jordan's Chicago Bulls. You had the first three-peat with Jordan and Pippen and a completely different cast of characters surrounding them, from Bill Wennington to Bill Cartwright. Like, it doesn't make a difference. Steve Kerr, you know, and John Paxson. Like, that's the way the NBA operates when you've got two dominant stars like Pippen and Jordan, and maybe they're not quite to that level, but in today's NBA, it's as close as you're going to get to a Pippen and Jordan situation. So, yes, players will leave, but they'll be replaced with good players, maybe some older players on smaller, shorter contracts because they want a chance to win a championship. That's the benefit that you have from being in championship discussions every year.
And Sharman, you look at him and his development. I mean, I love that kid. I knew he was a steal when they got him from Creighton. And but talk to me about J.D. Davidson now. Refresh my memory. Where is he from? When was he drafted?
He was drafted 3 years ago. The college is going to escape me, but he's been a two-way player with the Celtics for the last couple of years. He got a ring during ring night at the start of the season because he was on the playoff roster last year, and he put up 26 points a game this year in the G League, 12 assists.
Wow.
The reality is he would be a full-time NBA player if the Celtics didn't have such an embarrassment of riches at point guard.
No question about it. So Bronny doesn't get it. Maybe Bronny didn't qualify. Not that it matters. But that's absolutely fantastic. And I'm sure the Celtics will turn it around against Phoenix is hopeless. Crushing them by 30 last week, and Phoenix comes to town tomorrow night, right? For that mini rematch, which I don't think will be much of a rematch. And I don't want KD on this team. I don't want to hear anybody KD on this team who they would have to give up. No, I know when they almost got him right in 2022 when Brooklyn that could have been really interesting had that happened back then. But blessing in disguise, I think. I mean,
you could have had him in 2017 as well when they flew to the island there in New York and they brought Tom Brady with them and they brought Kelly Olynyk and they pitched him. You know, I've never seen a guy with a resume such as Kevin Durant's where he's definitely going to be on a different team next year. When you wrap up his career and when it's all said and done, the guy's going to play for 6-7 teams. How many legendary players do that? So there's something that has to tell you about his makeup and the way that he plays the game of basketball. For as dominant as he is offensively, I want no part of a guy that wants to be a part-time player, doesn't want to play defense, and is going to command north of $50 million a year on this team.
Speaking of the overrated Lakers, I sent out a tweet the other night, got 9,000 impressions in 10 minutes. All I said was, if the Lakers had gone on a 6-0 historic road trip and had won a bunch of these games with 1, 2, sometimes 3 starters not playing, what would the narrative be? I just can't stand, and I do take it a little, but just from a professional, I'm trying to think to myself, what if Memphis, I would probably feel the same way. I don't understand this fucking obsession with ESPN and the Lakers. I really don't. You got to hear the midday show down here with Clinton Yates. You got to hear that. It's Laker Dodger Radio, national show. And I guess they don't care. Our good friend Kevin Winter, who recently got canned from there, told me all the bullshit. They don't care about doing national shows. It's just everybody. It is so over the top bad. And they refuse. The other day, a historic road trip by the Celtics, they didn't talk about it at all for the first hour on the radio. I don't know why I didn't listen to it after that. And on TV, from all the shows, no mention of it. Not even a blurb about it. I mean, this is the most historic franchise, one of in all of sports. They go on an historic road trip, and you don't have that as a lead? You got to be kidding me!
But you saw LeBron hugging Nick Wright. I mean, that was leading everywhere. Like, they'd rather talk about the drama with LeBron compared to Stephen A. And here's Nick Wright, and you know, one he's fighting with, and the other one he's been blowing LeBron for 20 years, so of course he gets a hug. This is the WWE portion of the NBA that I have a hard time with, because it's more about the storylines and the drama than it is the game on the court. Look, the Lakers define the word paper tiger. They are going to be a first, maybe a second round out if they are lucky. They just don't.
If they play Golden State, they're done in the first. If they play Golden State in the first round, they're going out in the first round.
It's over.
They'll never get out of the second round. They'll never get out of the second round should they be fortunate.
No, again, people look at this team and they're like, okay, Luka and LeBron. So LeBron has had no success in the playoffs since the fake championship in 2020. And look what the Celtics did to Luka last year. I don't care that he averaged 30 points a game. He was an embarrassment on the floor, and he was a net negative for the Dallas Mavericks. So that's not going to change. It's not like Luka got himself in great shape and he's going to be a different player on the defensive end. He's going to get frustrated, and other teams are going to take the playbook from the Celtics. There's plenty of athletic, long, lean guys in the NBA, like a Jaylen Brown, that can dog him full court and make his life a living hell. And that's what you'll see in the playoffs.
But again, it's almost like the Eagles and the tush push. They do it so well, even though this is another thing that bothers me in sports, even though 71% of the rest of the NFL does the tush push right too, which is not this big discrepancy, just because the Eagles do it at 86%. I just don't even get me. I know I'm going off on a tangent, but that's the kind of thing. But a lot of teams don't have the Jaylen Brown. I mean, we're lucky. The Celtics have three arguably the best defensive guards in the game when you look at it. And offensive rebounding in Pritchard, Jaylen, and Drew Holiday. I mean, there's not a lot of teams that can frustrate him maybe like the Celtics can. But I agree with you 100%. They're gonna. Why not try?
They're going to, to beat the Lakers, even if they're not the great Lakers of yesteryear, still is a feather in the cap of whatever team plays them in the first round. And there is a certain amount of motivation that goes into eliminating the Lakers, eliminating LeBron, watching Luka cry again. So there's plenty of motivation for whatever team plays them in the first round. But if the NBA could have it their way, I think you're spot on. A Laker Warrior first round matchup, the numbers that it would draw would be insane. And as much as people were tired of the Warriors a couple of years ago, I feel like the Warriors would be adopted as America's team, just in an effort to see LeBron be eliminated in the first round again.
I have to sit there and root openly for Jimmy Butler to do Jimmy Butler stuff in the postseason. Would kill me to do it, but it's the lesser of two evils. I'd rather have Golden State win than LeBron. I want them out in the first round. I'm so sick and tired of the narrative out there, because I think it's lazy journalism. I think it's boring, and because the Celtics even though they're a great team, they don't have. I don't know what it is. They don't say stupid things. They don't say outrageous things. Tatum and Brown and the rest of them are all class. Joe is a very no-nonsense type of coach. So I guess it's the makeup of the personality. They don't think they move the needle. The passing that they did the Memphis game, that was, some things of beauty. Bounce pads. They looked like the Globetrotters in the second half in a couple of plays.
Look, the NBA is going through this thing where all these teams are shooting historic threes. And if you watch the league outside of the Celtics, it gets frustrating. It's a lot of one-on-one, a lot of bad shots. That's not what the Celtics do. If you like the 80s style of basketball, especially with a team like the Celtics or the Showtime Lakers, where it was moving without the ball, the right pass, 4 or 5 passes before a shot goes up. The only difference is back then, that shot was inside 20 feet.
Yeah.
Now it's outside of 33 feet. But it's the same philosophy. The next shot is the best shot. And I love the fact that this team has adopted that mentality, but that's why they're not getting praise around the league. And by the way, Jason Tatum really should be number one in the MVP conversation, if only because he's the last throwback player I think we're going to see. This dude does not want to sit. Joe is begging him to pick up more technicals, so he'll be forced to sit a game. You just don't see that in a league where these guys are forced to play 65 games to qualify for postseason awards. If it were up to JT, he'd play 48 minutes a night for all 82.
And plus, he's one of the few superstars that plays defense as well. I think he's excellent. A couple more questions, Pat, before I let you go. So, talking about SGA, everybody thinks he's going to be the MVP. I think Jokic. I think it should be a very close vote if you're looking at stats. But anyway, is this the year? Now we've seen a lot more of this. 64-12. Is this the year they get over the hump and get to the NBA Finals? I'm still not entirely convinced. Do you think they're the second deepest team in the league after the Celtics?
I don't know. I haven't believed in them, and that sounds a little crazy when you look at their record.
Yeah.
But I feel like a guy like SGA in the regular season, we've seen guys like him before. I think of a guy like Gilbert Arenas, who put up insane numbers for a handful of years in Washington. But in the playoffs, he was never able to come through because now you have to fight through double teams, triple teams, so the game slows down. And the herky-jerky, I'm going to throw myself into you, force a foul, the refs don't let that fly in the postseason. So I still think there's some adjustments that need to be made for that team to really capitalize on what it's done this year and have a chance to go to the NBA Finals. I still think they lose in the conference finals. I think they need one more year of seasoning. Their big guys are dominant, but they're young. One more year. It generally takes 2 or 3 years of struggling in the playoffs, slogging your way through, then to fight your way through in that next year. And by the way, next year, a team like Denver, they're a year older. So as Denver starts to possibly decline just a little bit, that's when you're going to see a team like, I think the Thunder start to rise.
Here's one stat for you. Oklahoma City finished 29-1 against the Eastern Conference this year. The only loss was at Cleveland on January 8th. But the 2 times they played the Celtics weren't in full strength. And I know the last game was a good game, but I throw those numbers out the window. I could totally agree with you. The Knicks do what they always do. They beat everybody except Cleveland and Boston. They're at 0-7 or 0-8 against them. They had a 15-point lead in the first half last night. Lost it again. And Thibodeau is one of those coaches that you and I think both have a tremendous amount of respect for. He can do really well, but he can't get you over the top.
Yeah. Look, the Knicks, they've got a lot of talent, and they've got guys that are likable. I really want to root for a guy like Brunson. He gets the most out of that body. Plus, he plays defense. You think about Isaiah Thomas with the Celtics putting up 30 points a game, but he was a defensive liability. You don't have that with Brunson. But trading for Karl Anthony Towns, I questioned it when it happened, and I will question it until the Knicks break through. If Cat truly is that special, then why wasn't he able to break through the last half a dozen years? What's changed about his game, his style, what he brings to the table as far as winning goes? Nothing. So all the shortcomings that he had the last 5 or 6 years, he just brought them with him to New York. Sure, he's a great regular season player, but he doesn't have enough to do it by himself. And they need a third star to take some of that offensive load off of Karl Anthony Towns and off of Jalen Brunson. And they do themselves a service if they brought in an offensive head coach, a guy like Jim O'Brien or the guy that used to coach the Suns, Mike D'Antoni, somebody like that to really help that team expand what they do offensively. Thibodeau's got the defense down. We all know that. But the Knicks in a 1-point game that they have to win, I don't think they've got a play that they can draw up.
Patrick, last thing, Carmelo Anthony reportedly going to be named to the NBA Hall of Fame. Thoughts on that?
Look, he deserves it. Look at his numbers. If Carmelo had come out at any other time in NBA history, he'd be celebrated as the best player of a decade. But because he was always unfairly compared to his classmate in LeBron James, he was sort of overshadowed. But people forget his years in New York and his years with the Nuggets, just how dominant that guy was.
24.8 points, 6.3 boards, and 3.1 assists over 8 seasons and 564 games just with the Nuggets.
He's also a guy that, much like Allen Iverson, I think got blackballed from the league. So AI could still play when he was forced to retire. And don't forget, Carmelo is so offensively gifted. He was out of the league for over 2 years, and then he comes back a couple of years ago, averages 15 points a game with Portland coming off the bench. He's just one of these guys that's always going to be able to put the ball in the basket, and that's what he'll be remembered for.
Absolutely. Not to mention what he did for Syracuse and winning the national championship back in 03. All right, Patrick. Thank you so much for taking a few minutes. Really appreciate you, pal. And we'll talk to you soon. Can't wait for the Cat and Pat podcast to drop. Angel will have that up, I'm sure. He's hobnobbing, by the way, today. He's having brunch and breakfast with all the ladies and the coaches. And I told him to get Gino Auriemma fired up because the Final Four is in Tampa. So he's over there hobnobbing with those people today.
Oh, it's Angel's world. We're just allowed to play in it.
Yep, exactly. All right,
We'll
Pat,
talk
we'll
to
talk to you soon. All the best. There he is. Bye-bye. Patrick Gilroy joining us here on Pete Sheppard Show on the Coastal Sports Network. Going to take another quick break, and when we come back, our final guest of the day, John Mita-Perrell, will join me. And he did a great job on the ACC network. He was on yesterday and did all the stuff about BC's Boston College's Pro Day. And also he calls college basketball. Get his thoughts on the upcoming Final Four, both the men and the women, and some college football news as well. All part of the Pete Sheppard Show as we have our final segment coming up next here on the Coastal Sports Network.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Anderson windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Anderson windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
Hey everybody, it's Pete Sheppard from the Coastal Sports Network. Want to tell you about my good friend Lou DiMuzio and his company. Lou is the president and founder of Ace Technology Advisors. They're big-time tech specialists. At ATA, they're able to craft, implement, and manage the best and most appropriate solution for your business. They leverage their industry-leading experience and their portfolio of technology partners to improve your best practices and infrastructure. So you can get a hold of them at 888-599-4223. That's 888-599-4223. Check them out on their webpage, www.acetechadvisors.com. That's www.acetechadvisors.com. Or you can email them, sales@acetechadvisors.com. Check out my friend Lou DiMuzio and Ace Technology Advisors.
To some people, the sound of a baby babbling doesn't mean much. But that's not necessarily true. By 6 months, they're combining vowels and consonants. By 9 months, they're trying out different kinds of sounds. And by 12 months, their babbling is beginning to take on some meaning. Especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Early screening and intervention can make a lifetime of difference and unlock a world of possibilities. Take the first step at autismspeaks.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
The following is made possible by Dad.
Why was the basketball court all wet? Because the players kept dribbling all over it.
The dad joke. Corny, grown-worthy, but also one of the simplest ways to share a moment with your kids.
Why do you have to be careful when it's raining cats and dogs? Because you might step in a poodle.
And kids that spend more time with their dads grow up to be smarter, more successful.
Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding.
And, with any luck, funnier adults.
Why didn't the skeleton go to the dance? Because he didn't have any body to go with.
Dad jokes rule. So take a moment to make a moment and give your kid a laugh. It's as easy as going to fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
That's really funny.
Okay, men, this is your time. Maybe you didn't choose this, but you're here now. You're gonna go out there and be an all-star caregiver. It's up to you. So what are you gonna do? You gonna go grocery shopping, cook, clean, be there emotionally and physically. You gotta dig deeper. Drive them to physical therapy, doctor's appointments. Don't you forget about the pharmacy. I know you won't. Because that's what caregivers do. Don't give up. Don't ever give up. This is your time to show the world, your family, and yourself that you're tougher than tough. Now go out there and be the best caregiver this world has ever seen.
Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick and proud aunt. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing. But not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. 1 in 6. That little girl sitting alone at the playground, she can't play like the other kids. She doesn't have the energy because she's hungry. School lunch will be her only meal today. It breaks my heart that this is the reality in our country, but it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste. This food is then provided to families and children in need. Being a kid should be about using your imagination, learning, and having fun. These children shouldn't have to miss out on simply being a kid because they're hungry. To find out how you can help end childhood hunger in your community, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
You want the best in sports and entertainment? You got it. Now back to the Pete Sheppard Show.
Hey, welcome back. Final segment of Pete Sheppard Show on a Thursday. It's April 3rd already, kids. Woo-hoo-hoo. Johnny Perrell going to join me in just a couple of seconds here as we get the third and final hour. Probably only going to be about a half hour. Well, but you never know with Meter. You never know. Did a great job on the ACC and network. Saw him yesterday. They're probably going to repeat it, I'm sure, but him and the staff did an unbelievable job at the BC Pro Day. So thanks, everybody, for checking us out across the video platform here on the Coastal Sports Network. Following me at PShep326 on X and Twitter, on the Facebook pages, on CSN Florida, YouTube, Rumble, Kick, and LinkedIn, of course, on SR1029 The Game. Right there. Bill, good morning. Did I not say good morning to you earlier? Good morning, Bill. And others who are out there. Get Angel not here today. He's hobnobbing with the women's Final Four in Tampa. So I cannot take any calls. But you can still text the show a whole bunch of ways at 727-858-6650. And amongst other things, too. I think on Facebook and YouTube, all the texts come up as well. Before Meter joins us, we've discussed a lot of interesting topics today from the NFL, NBA, NHL, MLB, obviously with Ohtani. The Red Sox get back on track, as does Rafael Devers with a couple of hits. Thank goodness for that. They have the getaway day game today in Camden Yards at Baltimore at 1:35. Early this morning or yesterday on the, where was this from? With Ty Schmidt on a separate podcast with the Pat McAfee show. Adam Schefter. Here's more, by the way, on the tush push.
The fact that it did get tabled and it's not going to be voted upon here, what does that mean for the tush push moving forward?
Ty, where we're at is here. Essentially, I would not have thought, others would not have thought that the tush push would get enough support that it would be tabled at the league meeting in March and April to be discussed further at the next league spring meeting. But I think if we go,
all right, but because Meter now is joining us, yes. But the thing is, all they're gonna do is they're gonna edit some language, put some additional language in. They have allegedly, reportedly, they have 16 of the 24 votes needed now, and I have no doubt they're going to change the language around. It's going to pass. It sucks, but it is what it is. Good morning, Meter. How are you?
Good morning. Good morning with the tush push. Some of us like to wake up with a tush push, Pete, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, me and my pillow.
Boy, we can really take that any way you want to take it, Pete.
I saw the last time I watched the game at Camden Yards, and it looked really cold, and it was like 40 degrees down there. But how is it up yonder your way?
Up yonder, Alonzo. It is
look cold.
43, I think. I haven't been outside yet. I'm looking outside now. It's raining, but it's supposed to be 65 and sunny tomorrow.
Oh, that's good. When the Red Sox home opener against the St. Louis Cardinals, it should be something. All right,
I will be there.
You will be there in the stands or in the press?
I will be there in the stands. Yes, I will be there with all your pretty people, and I will be there enjoying my what is it now? Probably 25th straight opening day.
Yeah,
which is pretty impressive.
I still love going to opening day. My favorite opening day ever, obviously. You might have been there too, standing in the press box in 2005 after the Red Sox had won the World Series. And when Mario Rivera was introduced, because the Red Sox played the Yankees opening day, and he really played it up with the crowd. It was fantastic. Tipping his hat. I mean, they just went. That was probably my funnest opening day moment ever.
Yeah, that was great. That was really, really good. And that was that's why Mariano was. I think the Red Sox fans respected him. And that whole day was crazy. I remember the buzz. We did the show at Fenway before the game.
Yep.
And it was just people were there at 5 a.m. when we got to our studio, and they were just ready to bust through the gates to watch the ceremony and watch the team get the rings.
We used to call it the fishbowl because our studios back then, where all the WEI, where everybody would broadcast from. For certain days was in left center field in the back, and it looked like an aquarium. People were coming and banging on the glass, girls showing boobs. I mean, it was unbelievable the stuff that went on back there.
Yeah, yes, it was. You were like, I know you were like Flipper back there. It's like, there's Sheppard. Look, Pete, do some tricks for us.
Back then, I was more like a whale. I lost like 80 pounds. But anyway, so I got to congratulate you. Great job, BC, on the ACC network yesterday. You and Merton and company, really, really good stuff. But I have a few questions. But is that going to be airing again?
Yes. Yep. Yeah. It's going to be airing a lot throughout, I believe, throughout the spring. Actually, I don't know when the next air date, but it definitely will be on the ACC network at least 5 or 6 times.
I think one of the more interesting names out there, and forgive me if I don't know the stats off the top of my head, I know you do, but Mike Tomlin's son, Dino Tomlin, do you think a lot of people around the country know he's playing for Boston College?
No, they don't. And he came from Maryland. They might have known him better at Maryland. He had a really good year 2 years ago. And this year he just never could really get on the field. He was banged up a little bit, couldn't really emerge. It was a deep receiving room. They brought some guys in they thought were going to be better, like the kid Bradley from Texas Tech. He disappointed. So Tomlin became more of a special teams guy, but he definitely has NFL speed. I saw really good hands from him 2 years ago, but he is kind of a good, probably camp addition. He'll get a look. Who knows? Maybe even the Steelers bring him in. That would be interesting. What a subplot that would be to play for your dad. But I think one thing about him, he's a really good kid and he's smart. And you talk to any scout there the other day, and they all say the same thing. We love BC kids because they're smart, they're hard workers, they're good picking up systems. They played for Bill O'Brien. It's the same old template which you get from every scout.
And the nickname, of course, is OLU, Offensive Line University at BC. And also on the other side, too, there's a lot of great defensive players that have come out of Boston College, not only in the trenches, but linebackers. But, Monsieur Kendall, I love that interview you did with him. He just looks like a solid, not only a solid player, which he is, but just a solid human being.
Great kid. The best. You love him. You could sit down with him for an hour and you walk away thinking, all right, this kid, he gets it. Eats, drinks, sleeps football. He grew up around football. Grew up watching film. His dad's a technician, longtime NFL player. So he's kind of born to play the offensive line, I guess.
He's
Had him
not
on
as
my
big of a smartass as his dad was. I can tell you that.
No. Pete loved to spar with the
did.
media. He did, and he was great. He was a great guest. We had him on all the time on WEI, but
Yeah.
it's still that way. But it's just one of those things where you think that kid, you bring him, whether you draft him or he's a free agent. I think he's going to get drafted, but if you don't, you're to steal in free agency. He'll be picked up a day after the draft or an hour after the draft, and he'll make a roster because he's, as Bill O'Brien says, he's just rock solid at center. You can move him inside to guard, and he proves his athleticism too, which they like. So, yeah, I think he's a terrific pick.
I always wonder though on how you really feel about it, because all these colleges and universities do the pro day. It's very much like the combine in the NFL in Indianapolis, and I just don't know how much overall you learn from these things. You can jump high, okay, great. You can run fast, okay, great. Can you run routes properly? There's difference between flat out speed and football speed and things like that. Broad jumping, they all look outstanding, really interesting, but can you really get a sense of what a potential draft pick can be because they can jump a little bit higher than the other guy? And sometimes it's only by, a millimeter of an inch.
No, but it can earn a guy a lot of money, like Mike Mamula. Mamula was a great example of that. 30 years ago when he was drafted by the Eagles, he's from BC, and he was a good player and he had a good NFL career, but they thought he was going to be a monster based on his combine. So guys can definitely scouts are drooling on some of those, like the short shuttle runs, the cone run, the flexibility. It's how far you can jump. That's great for a receiver, great for a defensive back. I just read today Bruce Feldman's mock draft in the Athletic, which is excellent. Travis Hunter going to the Patriots at 4. He's got Sanders going to the Giants at 3. But the rundown on Hunter was, people think he's not that fast, but as many opposing coaches says he's got game speed. It's another level. That's to your point. That's what they're looking for. How does he run in a game? It's not so much how he runs in practice or how he runs in a 40-yard dash. It's all about, can he run in the game and beat defensive backs?
So all the scouts, I'm assuming, were there from the NFL, right? From all the teams during BC Pro Day, and including Mike Vrabel was there too, correct? Did you get a chance to talk to him? I forget.
I talked to him briefly. We didn't have him on the show. We did talk to him briefly. He was busy with Elliott Wolf was there. Patriots had a few representatives there. 32 teams represented. Some brought multiple scouts. A lot of familiar faces. And, it was a good year because, Donovan Ezra didn't do anything. He did all he could do at the combine. He's a riser. Mel Kiper said that's his favorite defensive player the other day. So he'll go in the top 25. So BC has some intriguing prospects. Ozzie Trapillo is one of them. Another guy at offensive tackle we spoke to on the show. There's a reason why there were 32 teams there.
Billy O'Brien, obviously. Guy you can just the clips that I was watching. The man just commands so much respect, right? So his word goes a long way on a lot of these guys. I'm sure it's not just some bullshit that some other coaches might throw at you because they play for a certain school.
No, he's a straight shooter. He's got to tell them the whole story. And Bill knows what they're looking for. He did a million of these when he was a coach. He went he went everywhere. He was part of that group that we saw the other day of guys watching prospects. So he tells scouts, the weaknesses. He tells them the strengths, and he tells them can he play. Period. So that's something they value, and I think he's had fun with that because he knew he had a good crop this year, and it's a testament to what Jeff Hafley and his staff did, bringing these guys in, taking chances on whether it was a Trapillo who was raw, Kendall who was raw, Azaraku who was raw. They're kind of classic BC players. They're not the 4-star recruit. You and I talk about this all the time. Miami's not necessarily recruiting them, but that's to BC's testament. They make them into pros.
No, there's no question about that. But let me ask you this too. They're going to switch over to college basketball. Where is BC at with no money in the transfer portal right now?
Football, they're good. Football, they have good money. Are they flush with cash? Probably not, but they're in the middle of the pack in the ACC. I think as far as their allotment. Basketball might be a different story. I really don't know. It's kind of quiet on that front. Although they did bring back 3 key players, guys that they needed to bring back, including Donald Hand. He's back, so that's a good thing for them. But who knows? I think there needs to be more transparency in that front. How much money actually do these teams have? We hear, make it like how much the Patriots have to spend. How much does BC have to spend? How much does Miami have to spend?
A lot.
Right.
Miami has a lot to spend, and they do. I mean, they gave Ward he got $7 million. Beck is getting a bunch of money as well, if he's even going to be healthy enough. But yeah, I mean, that just amazes me. This guy, I mean, there's so many rich alum from Boston College. I'm just sometimes look, if Danny Ainge can get $7 million out of the Mormon Church or get that kid from Brockton to be the number 1 player in the country to go to BYU, BC can, I don't know, can we knock on somebody in the Catholic Church door? Hello, fellow Jesuit here. Give me some money so I can go get one of the great quarterbacks out there. I mean, come on, the Catholic Church has more money than God. It can't be outdone by the Mormons. It's ridiculous.
Well, you know what? We'll take up a collection, Pete. Next time I go to a mass. Next time I go to temple, I'll talk to my rabbi too. All right, we can do that too.
No, I just think there's a lot of money in New England. It still amazes me that
there is, but the thing you got to understand is there's only so much you can go to the well with. A lot of those alums have already given a lot of money, so some of them might be tapped out, and there's only so much you can give. I'm with you. I mean, I think what they're trying to do now is cultivate younger alumni, some maybe 35, 40-year-olds who have made a lot of money. Especially guys who are in the NFL now from BC.
Yeah.
We know Kuechly's given a lot. We know Matt Ryan's given a lot. Those guys have given their fair share. There's no question about that. So, it's can they utilize those avenues where, a 60-year-old alum who's given $5 million already might say, all right, I'm good.
No, I hear you. Got to be a little Debbie Downer about the Boston College hockey team, playing the way they did. Providence had a hard time with them at BC. Denver just had Hockey East number. It's too bad. They had the best player, by the way. What's his name? Made his debut for the Capitals the other night too, and he got an assist right away.
Ryan Leonard.
Yeah.
Yep. No, that was fun. That was fun to watch. It was disappointing. Watch the game, thinking. It was, but how many times have we said this? If you have a hot goalie, you got a really good chance to win, and that's what Denver had. And BC didn't play great. There's no question about that. I think they played in Denver's hands a little bit, playing more.
By the way, they should have called interference call when that kid got slammed into the boards and Powell got. They should have been on a power play the last minute and 10 seconds of that game. Might have changed. That was a penalty. Should have been called.
No question
on that icing call. It's horrible.
It was a bad call. There were a couple questionable calls. I think Leonard was neutralized. Their first line was neutralized. Perreault is now with the Rangers. He's playing with the New York Rangers. So they just had a rough night. And they had a rough games this year in their big games. They lost the Beanpot. They lost the Hockey East Championship. Games that they look back on and say, man, how did we lose that? And now Denver's moving on.
Yeah, they are. And that'll be next week, Final Four. So BU is in there. And I'll be rooting for all the Hockey East teams, BU and Denver, Western Michigan, and who else is in there? Anyway, that's next week. So they play after the basketball. Now let's get to the men and maybe to a degree the women. So my bracket's fine. I'm in the top 89% because I had 3 number ones. I knew Rick Barnes. I told you that. I knew Rick Barnes would let me down. At least he's gotten to the Elite Eight now, but I still had them in my Final Four. The rest of it I all had correctly. I had Florida. I had Auburn. I had Duke. I still have Florida beating Duke in the final. But I think I want to start on the right-hand side of the bracket. Kelvin Sampson versus Flag. What do you like about that matchup? Pretty contrasting styles, right, on that side. That's going to be a hell of an interesting to see who comes out on top of that one.
Yeah, I think, first of all, Kelvin Sampson doesn't get enough credit, and coaches always talk about how good he is.
Are you listening to a show in the background or something?
Yes, we might be listening to what is this? The Challenge. Yes, the lovely Caitlin's watching the Challenge. So, are you a Challenge guy?
No, but it's a challenge living with you. Must
That's
be.
definitely a challenge living with me. The Challenge All Stars Rivals.
What's a challenge? What is that?
It's an MTV reality show where they all
Oh,
compete on these like obstacle courses, and they don't eat bugs. It's not like that. It's not like Fear
Nobody's
Factor.
naked.
They might be naked at some points, which we encourage.
All right, yeah. All right, now we'll get back into we talked about Calvin Sampson and going up and defending.
Should have
the
said it was
flag.
like NFL films in the background. I'm watching the NFL Network.
Or
yeah, no, I think.
I'm surprised she's not watching you again.
Oh no, that's later on. But no, I think Duke's style is so tough to defend because, I mean, Houston's a great defensive team, which is what you're getting to. But how do you defend Duke now? There's too many weapons. There's too many options. Everybody in their starting lineup is just is an All-American basically. Even though they're quietly All-Americans. Con Knippel's a perfect example. Kids come out of nowhere. Really, I mean, he was a top recruit, but people at the beginning of the year didn't know who he was, and now suddenly it could be a lottery pick. So even if Cooper Flagg has a bad night, which he had the other night, you can go to other options, and Duke has a plethora of those. So Houston, I think it will be tight at times. I think it will probably be tight in the first half, but I think Duke will pull away.
Then Bruce Pearl, you and I both love Boston connections at Auburn. I still have Florida winning the whole thing. I still think they're the deepest team. But look, if Auburn wins, I'm not going to be shocked. I'll be a little disappointed, but bracket-wise, but I'm not going to be shocked. But Auburn versus Florida, I think there's a lot of talent out there for that one. That should be a little more high-scoring than Duke and Houston. I can tell you that.
Oh yeah, that's going to be run and gun, last possession type game. Florida, I'm with you. I have Florida against Duke in the final, but it wouldn't surprise me if Auburn won. I mean, that's yes, Bruce Pearl. I love the fact every press conference he's addressing the Israeli hostage situation. He's from Sharon, where I sit right now.
Yep.
Didn't play high school basketball at Sharon High. Went to BC. Well documented. Was the team mascot at BC. Was Baldwin the Eagle. Was his team manager. He's worked his way up. I know he's had his dicey issues. They all have. They all get a little gritty, a little dirty. But he's built that program. They're a powerhouse. And
well, let me ask you this though. He had some issues, but they're minor bullshit crap. I mean, most of it. If he was coaching there in this day and age or around that with nil and transfer portal money, do you think he'd be the coach at BC right now if the same rules that are now were then?
Yeah, man. I don't think he ever would have gotten the job because of those issues. But yeah, now it's the Wild West. Game on. It's what everybody was doing 20 years ago. Now is legal. So I love Bruce Pearl. I think he's great. I think he's great for the game. I thought he was a good broadcaster too. I think basketball, college basketball is better if he's involved in this type of a game. And Florida, I mean, Golden. Speaking of issues, he's had his. By the way, Pete, you know this is the first time ever there's 3 Jewish coaches in the Final Four.
I did not know that. I do not keep unless they're Italian. I don't keep track of that stuff. So,
well, of course, this is a significant moment.
That is. That's unbelievable. Yeah,
Shire, Golden,
that's right.
Pearl.
Yeah.
How about that?
That's awesome.
It's too bad Steinberg lost.
Congratulations. Congratulations to you
kidding.
And your people. That's awesing.
Well, we're celebrating. That's been celebrated on social media.
Yep.
It's but to answer your question, that's a 78-75 type game.
I think I'm looking at a picture Angel Martinez just tweeted out. He's surrounded. He's got a harem. I mean, it's all pictures of him and surrounded by women from all 4 teams: UCLA and UConn and South Carolina and Texas. Unbelievable. Rooting for UConn. Rooting for. How do you know Gino Auriemma at all? I only talked to him once a long time ago. It was 10 seconds.
Not really. Tim Welsh is a really good friend with his.
Mm-hmm.
So I just heard great things about him. Tim loves him. Had him on our show a few times too. But he's I mean, what can you say? It's just a dynasty. They know how to win big games. I watched a little bit of that the other night, and I know USC was hurt, obviously with their best player out. But do you bet against UConn? I saw people the other
No
day
way.
saying, in a big game, do you bet against the UConn women?
Not with Beckers. I mean, what's interesting and sad is that she wasn't on be able to play when she was hurt last year, because her and Caitlin Clark, she would have given her a run for money for Player of the Year. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, she can. Like Clark, she hit a 25-foot shot the other night.
Yeah,
I mean, it's amazing with the shot she can hit and off balance. And no, they're just they're a collective team. And Gino, if you don't play as a team, he gets rid of you. It's one of those things you got to buy in.
Yep.
So it's not just the star system. It's a cohesion system there. So you have to play as a team. It's good that the women's ratings have been better again. Not as good as they were last year with Caitlin Clark, but people are definitely paying more attention, and that's good.
No question. All right, what else is going on? You're going opening day tomorrow. That'll be fun. I was having this discussion with Bill Sparrows yesterday from the Herald. Before yesterday's game, I'm like, if Raffy goes 0 for 4 again and strikes out 2 or 3 times, I go, he is going to get booed opening day. And I forget about the sentimentality. I think that would have been lost. But he kind of redeemed himself yesterday. Finally gets a couple of hits. I thought Jim Rice was great the other day on Nesson. A couple of days ago when he talked about having Jose Canseco when he was a hitting coach and turning the batting cage around and doing some different exercises. But then you can't say enough about Crochet. They just awesome yesterday. And locking up Campbell, very similar, I think, remember me to what they did with Pedroia back in the day. Smart moves by the Red Sox.
Yeah, no, they're being proactive, which is nice. And, people are questioning the agent of Christian Campbell. What is he doing signing that contract? Well, you know what? Sometimes guys just say, I want to be secure. I mean, that's a lot of security. People lose sight of the fact he's a very rich kid at 22 years old now. He doesn't have to worry about anything for the next 8 years or for the rest of his life. So sign the deal. It could be worth as much as $100 million. Yeah, I know you're leaving some money on the table if you do have the career you think you're going to have, but who cares? It's $100 million. Okay, fine. And then you're set for 3 generations. So why would you even think of that as a bad deal? Yeah. I don't understand that. That was on the airwaves here yesterday.
Of course it was.
Of course it was. You know who I'm talking about. And that was it doesn't make sense to me. I mean, who are you, Scott Boras? Like, does it matter at this point? Good for the Red Sox that's what they're doing now. And we've talked about this. Henry does not want to sign a 35-year-old to a 7-year deal. Will he sign a 22-year-old if his scouts in his front office says do it? Yes. He will.
There were actually people complaining about the Campbell signing yesterday. Talk shows were complaining about it.
Well, they were questioning Christian Campbell. I'm like, and his agent. I'm like, what are you, part of the Players Association?
Who cares?
Who cares?
You should be praising the Red Sox for locking him up like we did with Pedroia back in the day. That was big, right? Was it after the Rookie of the Year, then MVP, and then they locked him up? I mean,
they've done it a few times now. And both teams are playing the bets. They're playing the stock market. I mean, they signed Bayo, they signed Rafaela. Yep. Those guys aren't sure bets. They think they're going to be okay. Mm-hmm. Bayo's hurt now. Rafaela strikes out too much. He's a good talent. Campbell looks like he's going to be a heck of a player. So both sides are taking a gamble, but who cares? To your point, you lock them up, and then you have to worry about it. Crochet was a no-brainer.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I think that's going to be a steal when it's all said and done. All right, bud. So where are you sitting tomorrow?
Not sure yet, but I'm sure we'll have some cozy seats, and we can wave to you as you watch.
You hold up a sign
from your lanai.
I love Pete. Yeah, I'll be watching. The only games I can't watch down here on YouTube TV are Tampa Bay games and because they black them out.
That's a shame.
So real quick, because MSG went through this with Comcast and Xfinity. I know Nesson's going through it as well. I hear some stuff about NBC Sports Bar. So Nesson's jacking up the price too, locally up or for whatever. About $20. Are you serious?
Yeah, that's maybe it's a tariff issue. Blame it on the tariffs.
I'm about to go get gas after this, so hopefully it won't be overly affected today.
It's not. That's not what you're looking for, but I think it's the reality of all these local sports networks. We talk about it all the time on our sports media podcast. Andrew Marchand's been all over it for The Athletic. He's the guy to read on it. it's what they have to do, I guess, to keep up with the Joneses. And it's 162 games of inventory, so therefore they feel like they could charge for 162 games.
Yeah.
So it's not ideal, Pete.
I remember when Sports Channel and NESN were together, I think for $11.99 back in the day, and people were outraged about that.
Yeah, that could buy you a sub at D'Angelo's.
All right, my friend. Thanks a lot so much, and great job on the ACC network. And I'll continue to plug you when I can. And we'll talk to you soon. Enjoy Fenway tomorrow. Enjoy your $50 hot dogs and all that stuff. It'll be
my $37 cocktail.
Yeah, $37 cocktail. Water that's $8. Going to be
no. Water's cheaper now.
Oh, it is.
Oh yeah, right.
You got to be like Coastal Carolina, the Chandeliers, and have everything for free. Oh.
I love that. Isn't that great? If it's free, it's for me, Pete. But have a good afternoon.
You too, John. Thanks so much. John Mita-Perrell joining me today. Voice of the Boston College football play-by-play voice on the ACC network as well for hoops and baseball. All right, that's going to do it for me. Tomorrow, back with more guests. We'll find out what Angel. I just tweeted out a picture with Angel with all these ladies, and he's got a total harem. It's unbelievable. I'll see one guy in the picture, in these pictures that he's tweeted out. I retweeted it. Anyway, I am Pete. Thanks to my guests. Thanks to John Mita-Perrell. Thanks to Patrick Gilroy. Thanks to Trevor Harris. I'm back tomorrow at 7 in the a.m. I'm going to go out and see how much gas is today. Have a great and safe rest of your Thursday, everybody. See ya.
Open up your window. Let some air into this room. I think I'm almost choking from the smell of stale perfume. And that cigarette you're smoking, I'll scare me half to death. Open up the window, sucker. Let me catch my breath. Mama told me